Aquarium Fish Care 101. Can you handle a saltwater aquarium? Having a saltwater aquarium can be a lot of fun. There are many benefits to having it around, including the wide range of fish that you can stock it with and call your own. Yet, you can also find that there are some downsides to having this type of aquarium too. It is essential that you take the time to compare these options before you choose whether or not you should go with a saltwater aquarium or with a freshwater aquarium. A freshwater aquarium is easier for most to maintain because it is easier to keep clean. A saltwater aquarium will be harder to clean, but it will be able to be stocked with a larger amount of variety in the fish and creatures that you can put into it. A freshwater tank will be less expensive, as will the fish that you stock it with. But again, there is more variety offered in the saltwater version. And you can even create your own living ocean in your saltwater aquarium, because you can put in a wide range of other sea life animals that are not fish. You will need to do more work and invest more money into a saltwater tank. You will also need to commit more time to keeping it up and running. You should realize, though, that there are many rewards offered to you in this type of tank. It will allow you to create a whole new world in your home, and it can even teach children about the life under the sea. Take your time to consider your choice. Take a look at the types of fish that you would love to have in your saltwater aquarium, and decide if you can indeed provide for them the type of environment that they need to survive in. Choosing fish for your saltwater aquarium. Once you decide to go with a saltwater aquarium, your next task will be to choose the types of fish that you would like to stock within it. Now, you should not head out and purchase an aquarium just yet. First, you need to carefully consider your fish choices. There are thousands of species, but not all of them are ideal for an aquarium-like setting, and many of them are better left to the ocean. Yet, you cannot get your aquarium before you know what fish you are putting it in for one main reason. That is, of course, the size. Depending on the amount of fish and their needs for space, this is what will determine just how large the saltwater aquarium you choose will be. It is important to take your time in choosing these fish. If you are a beginner aquarium owner, take your time to make the right choices. You may want to choose fish that are easy to take care of, including clownfish, damselfish, and mollies. Then you can add things like triggerfish, grammas, and tangs. One thing to really consider before you purchase are the more unique choice, such as angelfish, anemones, seahorses, and even clams. These are much more difficult to take care of and are often something a beginner will struggle with. You should also consider other elements about the fish that you plan to stock in your saltwater tank. You should note just how well the various species will interact with each other. You should also know which ones are more aggressive. Finally, you should make sure that they all tolerate the same living conditions, especially when it comes to the water's temperature, the salinity levels, and the pH levels of the tank. These things are a must when choosing the species of fish to stock in your saltwater fish tank. Purchasing your saltwater aquarium. When it comes to purchasing your saltwater aquarium, there are several things that you will want to consider. First off, you should take your time to consider the types of fish that you would like to own. Remember that it is necessary to ensure that these creatures can actually get along together well, and that their water needs that they have all match well. Once you know what fish you plan to stock, you can take a look at the various options you have in the tanks you can purchase. You should consider the size of the tank first. The larger the tank is, the more room the fish will have to swim and live. This will allow them to do the best that they can. But the larger the fish tank is, the more work it will take you to keep it clean as well as at the right levels for the fish. Most individuals that purchase a saltwater aquarium will do so at the level of a 30 to 55 gallon size. Remember to talk to your pet store clerk about the amounts of room your fish need to have. You should also heavily consider purchasing acrylic for your tank. It is stronger as well as easier to maintain, and you will be able to see better through it. You should then consider where you plan to house your aquarium. The larger it is, the stronger the table or place will need to be. Remember to consider the weight of the tank full of water. Another thing to consider is having a reef tank instead of a fish tank. If you will have enough room and the price is right, these can provide you with more detail and more beauty in your fish tank. You can even purchase a kit that comes prepackaged with all of the things that you need to get your fish tank up and running. Ensure that these are all the right elements for your needs though. Filling your saltwater aquarium. You have taken the time to carefully purchasing the right saltwater aquarium, and you have taken the time to choose the right fish to put into it. There are many things that you need to do in order to get your tank full of the fish that you really would like to have in it. It does not have to be too hard for you to do this, but you should realize that it is necessary to fill your tank slowly and give your fish the best opportunity that you can for them to survive and thrive in your saltwater aquarium. First, start with healthy fish. Take a look at them. Do they look healthy? Are they swimming around the tanks at the pet store easily? Is the water in the tank clean? You should be able to trust your pet store salesman. If you do not think that they know what they are talking about, head someplace else. Some of these fish can be expensive. Do not purchase fish that are not healthy for your tank. Next, remember to only add fish 1 or 2 at a time. You should ensure that the right levels are met in your tank before you add the fish to it. You should ensure that the pH level, the salinity level, and the water temperature are right for the fish that you have chosen. You should realize that fish do not like the change either. You need to let them adapt to their new environment before you add many fish to the aquarium. Adding just a few fish every few days is the best thing for you to do. Once you have your fish in the tank, make sure to feed them properly. To do this, you will want to make sure that you know what the fish like to eat, as well as how often they need to. As a general rule, feed your fish every 3 days. Keep them in water that is about 75 to 80 degrees, and give them a variety of foods including cut-up pieces of shrimp and romaine lettuce. Maintaining your saltwater aquarium. You are enjoying your fish in your saltwater aquarium. You have done all that you can to provide you new little friends with a great home to live in. Now you need to maintain it. Remember, maintaining the tank is essential to keeping your fish alive. There are several things that you will need to do in order to keep your fish happy and healthy. The first thing you need to do is to remember to check the water of the tank every 2 weeks. You need to check for the right levels of ammonia, nitrate, nitrite, pH, and salinity. You should know what these levels are based on what your fish needed when you purchased them. You can find the chemicals that you need to adjust these levels at the pet store too. Monitor the salinity of the water. Usually, it will be too high. To balance it out, add fresh dechlorinated water to the tank. You will need to add salt to the water if the salinity levels are too low. You should remove just about 10% of the water from your tank each week and replace it with fresh dechlorinated water. Every several weeks, take out 25% of the tank's water and replace it. Finally, taking care of your saltwater aquarium includes keeping it nice and clean for your fish. You should monitor the amounts of algae in it and ensure that you keep the sides, top, and the interior of the tank algae-free. You should check the filter pads and check the alkalinity as directed by the manufacturer. You will need to clean out the debris in the water and in the gravel as well. Taking care of your saltwater aquarium is necessary if you plan to keep it a safe place for your fish. But you can do this quite simply by knowing what needs to be done and making it a habit. Then it is less of a chore, and it becomes something that you look forward to. Aquarium and fish care choices. Members of the family Charicity share many characteristics with other freshwater fish. They are a member of the Ostariophysi superorder, which includes around 68% of all freshwater species in the world. This superorder is characterized by the Weberian apparatus and some sort of alarm substance that is released when the fish is stressed. Family Chericidae were originally discovered in South and Central America, but have also been found in Central Africa. There are two main variations of Chericidae: carnivorous and omnivorous. The omnivorous kinds will eat both vegetable matter and meat, while the carnivorous only eat meats. While there are also herbivorous Chericidae, you should probably avoid keeping them, because they will eat literally every plant in your aquarium. When choosing to keep carnivorous Chericidae, there are some things you will want to keep in mind. First and foremost, be aware that anything smaller than the Chericidae will be considered food, and mixing other aggressive carnivores will only lead to one or the other being eaten. You will want to keep herbivorous fish that are much larger with Chericidae. They will generally leave anything bigger than themselves alone, and the herbivore will not be interested in attacking unless provoked. In contrast to the piranha, which has similar jaws and eating habits, a Chericidae will attack both alone and in schools. Piranhas tend to attack only in schools, but the effect either type can have on your hand is similar, so be careful. These kinds of fish are definitely not recommended for the beginner. Carnivorous Chericidae will eat pretty much any kind of meat. Worms, smaller fish. A lot of dangerous fish keepers will stock the aquarium with several small, cheap fish, so the predator has something to hunt, etc. Try to avoid giving them a taste for red meat, and do not put your hands into the tank while feeding them. Chericidae live in the brackish waters of South and Central American rivers. Lots of peat and vegetable matter contribute to hazy waters and a pH leaning towards acidic. When properly kept, Chericidae will breed in captivity, leaving eggs that stick to the bottom of the aquarium. They will eat their young, however. So if you are going to attempt to breed Chericidae, be prepared to move either the adults or the young into a separate aquarium right after hatching. Ceresalmus ramius, also known as white piranha or spotted piranha, are another favorite of people who like to keep dangerous fish. Like Chericidae, piranhas are from South America in the Amazon basin. They can grow up to 10 inches long in the wild, but most aquarium-raised piranha only grows to around 6 inches. As with Chericidae, piranhas are not for the beginner. As one of the most aggressive fishes, they cannot be kept with other fish. Their most prominent feature is the oversized jaw, with rows of needle-sharp teeth. Piranhas have been known to tear apart aquariums with those teeth. When netting a piranha, you must use extreme caution to keep your hands away from the fish at all times. They will attack and shred your hand without hesitation if you let them. In the wild, a school of piranha can reduce an entire cow to bones in a matter of seconds, so your hand is just a little snack for them. Piranhas eat meat, of course. They will attack and eat any other fish they are kept with. Some of the nicer things about keeping piranha include their relative indifference to water conditions, and that they will not breed in a tank. This prevents schools of piranha from appearing in your tanks. They will eat each other in captivity, especially if there are no other fish to attack. Piranhas are extremely aggressive and dangerous, and should only be kept by experienced keepers. Aquarium and fish care support. As a beginner first learning the ins and outs of keeping an aquarium healthy, things can get a bit overwhelming. There is so much terminology and equipment. It is enough to make anyone's head spin. Learning it all a piece at a time is recommended. Patience is key in many things relating to keeping aquariums. A fish often recommended to beginners is the goldfish, commonly available and quite pretty when healthy, The goldfish is one of the easier fish to keep healthy and happy. Be prepared to do some reading, however. There are terms and procedures to become familiar with. The aquarium is absolutely critical to being able to keep healthy fish, no matter what kind of fish it is. Proper care and maintenance of your aquarium is necessary, and there are daily and weekly procedures that must be followed. The first step in keeping a goldfish is choosing the aquarium. While you may see goldfish in bowls and other small containers on television, and even in real life, this is really a bad idea. While a goldfish can live for a while in a small bowl like that, they will never really thrive and will be more susceptible to disease and death. A 10-gallon minimum aquarium with filtration should be the minimum you consider for keeping a goldfish. The filter running into the aquarium agitates the surface of the water and provides more oxygen to the water, which in turn means the fish has plenty of oxygen and is healthier. More room to swim and even some currents from the filtration make sure that the goldfish stays happy and in shape. Don't forget to take the number of goldfish into account. More than one goldfish will require more space. Ask the guys at your local pet store or aquarium shop recommended what they recommend. Don't buy too much tank at first, though. Try to keep it small and simple. Tell them how many fish you intend to keep and whether you would like to add fish later. Always do some research before buying a product you are not familiar with. There are a ton of accessories and products associated with aquariums and fish. Doing some research beforehand can keep you from buying products you don't need. Unless you have access to well water, your tap water probably contains chlorine or ammonia. These substances are very harmful to your goldfish and can even kill them if you have particularly chlorinated water. There are products available that you simply mix thoroughly into your tap water after filling the aquarium. They usually remove chlorine, as well as adding things to the water to help your fish form its slime coat and fight off ike, a small parasite that is extremely common on fish that are stressed. If you would rather use distilled or reverse osmosis purified water, there are other additives that restore needed minerals into these two pure waters. Make sure you check the filters once a week and rinse them out with dechlorinated water of some type. It is okay to use distilled water for this. It is common to get snails living on your filters. Try not to crush them and remove them during your weekly cleaning. It is not recommended that you put these types of snails back into your aquarium because they tend to overbreed and eat every bit of plant matter in your aquarium. It is also necessary to keep the aquarium at a fairly constant temperature. An aquarium heater can be used to control the water temperature with some precision. You should also have an aquarium thermometer to verify the water temperature. Freshwater aquarium fish. Aquariums can be beautiful, but expensive and complicated to maintain. For the beginner, it is highly recommended that you go with freshwater aquariums and fish. While both saltwater and freshwater aquariums require some setup and maintenance, freshwater aquariums are by far the cheaper and easier of the two. All you really need to start with freshwater is a tank, some gravel and slash or rocks, light, filter, heater, and thermometer. Fill it with water. Let it sit for a few weeks to get a biological filter cycle going, and you are good to go for freshwater fish. And if you choose well, freshwater fish can be just as bright and colorful as their saltwater counterparts. Which fish should I get? Probably the most common question a freshwater aquarium keep asks is, which kind of freshwater aquarium fish should I get? Freshwater fish come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. Some can be kept with others, some can't. Probably the best way to decide is to look around at your local aquarium shop and see what catches your eye. If you don't see anything you like, the shopkeeper will likely be able to help you in ordering the ones you want. And be sure and find out whether the different species of fish you are considering keeping together are compatible. Some common choices for beginning freshwater aquariums keepers are cichlids of various types and rainbow fish. Cichlids come in all sorts of colors and can grow to be quite large, 3 feet or so in the wild. Rainbow fish are from Australia and are usually multicolored and quite pretty. If you want a small fish to round out your tank, a school of 4-5 neons can fill the role nicely. They never get bigger than large minnow-sized and have almost fluorescent stripes on otherwise clear bodies. Care and maintenance. With all of these fish, you will need to pay attention to your water pH, which is a measure of how acidic or alkaline it is. Various fish have different comfort levels, and some fish, like the discus, can actually die if the pH is not precisely maintained. Watch your temperature and make sure it is warm or cool enough. A lot of the more colorful freshwater fish come from tropical freshwater and require warm water to be healthy and happy. Fish care and aquarium support. 1. Know your fish. The care of your fish is determined largely by what type of fish they are, i.e., saltwater or freshwater. The first kind is also referred to as marine fish. The kind of water home you provide for your fish friends depends on the category they fall under, as saltwater fish need to be looked in at daily to check for their good health in an alien environment. And this is why experts recommend fish owners to observe the patterns of behavior of every fish in the tank, so anything out of the ordinary can be recorded and attended to by a pet specialist. 2. Learn about the eating pattern of your fish to fix a daily routine for them, as some fish may require frequent meals, while others can do with just one meal daily. It is important to understand and interpret the eating demands of your fish. 3. Try and keep the aquarium water clean, as neglecting this aspect may cause chlorine buildup in the tank, leading to unhygienic conditions for the fish in it. You can invest in some affordable water filters to maintain aquarium water and find out about adding calcium in it, besides adding iodine salt twice weekly for marine fish kept in a tank. Clearing the aquarium of algae buildup that contains photosynthetic substances is essential too for the healthy upkeep of your fish. 4. Another tip for maintaining tank water of the best quality is to filter out at least 15% of it contained in the tank on a weekly basis, and refill this quantity with pure, oxygenated water to prevent buildup of chemicals that can be harmful for the fish. Don't hesitate to seek advice from the local pet shop on the ways to eliminate chemical buildup in your tank water and the type of filtration system you can use to benefit your fishy friends. 5. Always work to remove debris, such as gravel, etc., from the tank before attempting to clean and change the water. Check for any impurities, such as ammonia content, etc., in the aquarium water by investing in a tester kit and buffer system easily available in the market, and use this every 2 weeks to spot harmful levels of other chemicals, such as copper, chlorine, and nitrate buildup, etc., and to check the pH level of the tank water. However, do remember that fish tend to produce their own level of nitrites, which are not harmful for them and only concentrate on removing the nitrous acidy salts that can be toxic for them. When doing these weekly tests, add in the useful alkalinity buildup test on a monthly basis, also to judge the concentration of it in terms with the pH level of the tank water. 6. Investing in a good quality chemical, mechanical, or biological filter that your local pet shop can guide you about is a smart way to prevent fish from falling ill when kept in an aquarium environment, and checking to see these are working properly is also important, as a bi-weekly filter check can tell you when a replacement is due. Keeping your fish records updated and your aquarium clean is essential for fishy friends. To breathe, easy click online for more details. Gastroplicity Fish Care and Aquariums. It is a proven fact that investing in an aquarium is more than just a hobby or passing phase for real fish lovers. And knowing which to buy depends largely on whether you intend keeping marine, sea fish, or non-marine, freshwater fish in the tank. The lucky part about modern living is that now we have tanks fitted with switches that enable one to change the temperature of the water contained in it, so a dim or intense tank light makes for comfortable surroundings inside. Besides temperature control, modern tanks can also benefit from the huge variety of purification systems available for filtering out toxins and debris from the tank environs, helping keeping the water oxygenated and clean for the inmates. Some are mechanical, while others are electronic in nature. However, more than these, the innovation in fish care for aquarium owners comes by way of an automatic food distribution cum fertilized dosage system that takes the hassle out of remembering to feed the fish and when to do so. Fish owners today are spoilt for choice when it comes to buying aquariums, as so many different sizes, materials, and advanced electronically aided tanks are available in the market for keeping piscian pals and botanical buddies in them. Of course, researching the 22,000 odd species and their preferences when it comes to keeping fish healthy in a tank is sure a task, but an enjoyable one for those that love the hobby. Learning about cold water or tropical fish, as opposed to simply freshwater and marine creatures, is important for tank hygiene and fish health, besides learning which are the dangerous species and should not be kept in captivity. Piranhas. 1. There are fish that fly, gastroplicity, include the hatchet fishes, and these are found mainly in South America's northern reaches. Known for their distinctly deep figures, they are referred to as flying fish because of their affinity to raising the chest fins and attempting a float in the sky. For this reason, tank owners are advised to keep a hood on the aquarium with flying fish in them to prevent them from escaping, like they are prone to doing at least 15 feet away from the tank. 2. Another species similar to the first are the Carnegiella marthi, also known as blackwing hatchet fish, that has their roots in the Amazon areas, Peru, and Venezuela. They typically grow to only an inch or a quarter more in size, boast a black chest, ridge and keel, and do better in peaceful waters, and others closer to their species. A calm temperament and easy food habits are advantages of keeping this variety of fish that prefer soft waters and breed in a fashion much like that of Hyphus abricans. 3. The silver hatchet fish, or Gasteroplecus levis, originate from the lower Amazonian regions, growing to an inch more than the blackwing variety with a silver body and blue-black tinge of parallel stripes, and are generally non-fussy about sharing a tank with other fish, provided they are kept in a clean environment. Its breeding habits, much like the blackwing variety, is currently under study, and not much is known about them breeding in tanks. Besides this family, that of the Cyprinidae, which covers carps and other similar fish, is of interest. These fish tend to have big bodies and bones and are generally found across North America, Europe, and some parts of Africa and Asia. Their pharyngeal bones also double up as teeth, and few of them have barbal fins, which make up for adipose fins. 8 feet is a normal size for them. The Indian version is named the mahasir, and is among the largest carp breed found in freshwaters, sometimes boasting round scales, soft fins, and toothless jaws in the minnow variety used for baits, much like the carps. Home aquarium. 1. A little bit of attention goes a long way when fish keeping is being considered, and potential owners of a home aquarium need to research the kinds of fish that are easy to keep and feed, besides types of aquarium they can invest in to make it an enjoyable hobby. Taking over from pups and kittens, the perennial pet choices. Fish are fast growing in popularity as pets that are easy to keep and look after, with pet shops registering greater demand for these fin friends more than ever before, so much so that this boom has led to local shops growing into larger setups and a fish industry that was never there before. These are typically great places to pick up additional tips and know about choices for fish keeping, so visit them when you get a chance. 2. The local pet store is a good bet for picking up valuable advice and knowledge about different species of fish, and the maintenance required for their proper upkeep, and keeping tank conditions suitable for communal living with other varieties of aquatic creatures. From tips on sources of bacteria and chemical buildup that can be harmful for the fish in a tank, to learning about ways and means to prevent, control, and treat toxins and other substances that threaten the well-being of the aquarium fish. There is a lot you can learn from experts at the local pet store. You can also look around and make informed choices about the kind of products you need to build a fantastic home aquarium and support system for your fish-keeping hobby. Cheap and cheerful, visiting the pet shop owner can guarantee better advice at lower price, as can clicking on the internet. 3. Investing in fish keeping as a hobby is much more than simply purchasing the fish and putting them in an aquarium. A home aquarium calls for upkeep that involves the use of support devices such as stand, temperature regulators, filters, lighting, and feeding helpers, besides a host of others to ease your mind and keep the fish healthy. 4. Learn about home aquarium upkeep on the web or consult the local pet store expert so you can cut back on the extensive maintenance that keeping fish requires, besides, of course, knowing which the dangerous kinds to avoid keeping at home are or close to a child-friendly environment. How to install a wall-mounted aquarium. 1. Marine life has long been the source of fascination for many people who are water lovers and long for a peaceful, restive, and calm environment that keeping an aquarium provides them. However, keeping marine or freshwater fish are two different passions that come with their own set of rules as regards keeping these species in a home tank environment is concerned that hobbyists need to educate themselves about. For example, marine tanks can boast tropical, cold water, and exotic fish to sharks and stingrays, but learning about their dietary habits and needs is equally important in picking a home for them. 2. Knowing the category of fish saltwater or fresh water is essential to knowing the kind of tank necessary to keep them in, where to place it, based on cleaning weekly or monthly and accessibility needed for the same, and what kind of plants one can put inside the aquarium. 3. Getting a wall-mounted aquarium is a definitive style statement apart from being an innovative way to display your Piscean pals. These comes in many sizes and shapes, from those the size of a TV screen to huge walls containing the National Aquarium, Baltimore in Maryland. It does require a certain skill level and time, besides patience, to do the job right, though but being stylish home accents, wall-mounted tanks are the in thing. 4. The first step towards deciding on having a wall-mounted home aquarium is to determine whether the walls of your home are sturdy enough to take the weight of such an innovative fish-keeping concept. Strength of the walls will help you decide the size of wall studs to be used. If possible, try to consider this at the time of laying the foundation of your home, as only strong walls can support the idea of a wall-mounted fish tank. 5. You can consider hiring a professional services firm to install your wall-mounted aquarium for you, so the headache of having cables, pumps, and other paraphernalia underfoot is minimized, and a good job done. This is a considerably more costly option, though, as compared to a DIY job for wall mounting an aquarium, but preferable to investing time, money, and effort you cannot spare currently, besides a way to transfer any gaffes onto the company the job is entrusted to, should accidents happen or home repairs needed. Wall-mounted aquariums come with a host of distinct advantages as compared to the conventional type of fish tanks that are fraught with hassles of cords and plugs getting underfoot and require lesser degree of maintenance, so homeowners save valuable floor space, have added safety from children upsetting the tank, and the joy of having gay, colorful fish floating alongside them in a dream environment. Jewel aquariums, the earlier days of stepping into a pet store in the neighborhood and simply buying an ordinary tank with a hood, and then stepping up to purchasing lighting and inmates for them, is finally over with the arrival of modern, innovative, and elegant options, besides a host of accessories for the aquarium owner. Investing in a jewel aquarium is not for the faint-hearted, or, for that matter, those without deep pockets, since it is a costly way to follow a hobby. Some people liken the desire to purchase a jewel aquarium with going on a shopping spree to buy wholesale goods in a larger size or pack to cut costs, instead of individually sourcing and fitting pieces or items. This is because when buying a jewel aquarium, it gets its name from the manufacturer, a one-of-its-kind product currently. All the possible support devices are provided to the buyer by the dealer in one lot, which is a great deal. Not only does buying from one manufacturer, Jewel, offer customers a wide variety of different combinations in the type and size of aquariums they want, but the dealer also doubles up as an accessory provider to offer varieties of aquariums with or without stands, fitted with filters, purifiers, and lights, etc. At times, ornamented and gravel-included aquariums are much in demand too. These range from 60 to 120 in size, apart from the fabulous Rio range of 125 liters to 400 liters, and may be fitted into cabinets with heaters or other assorted devices. Cheaper to buy over the internet, these jewel aquariums are a more cost-effective bet than buying at the local pet store. Available in color choices of black and beach. The other series, known as the Jewel Vision variety, comes in sizes 180, 260, and 450 with a curved glass front. Jewel's Trigon series are best for corner fitting or mounting on stands, being the most costly buy of the lot in model sizes of 190 and 350. All Jewel fish tanks come equipped with a filter and heating systems, which make them a great buy for the money they cost, though they are heavy. All cabinets of Jewel aquariums need to be assembled at home, but are conveniently flat-packed. Marine and freshwater fish aquarium care. 1. Your approach to purchasing and keeping freshwater fish in your home aquarium should be based on prior research and information to guide your purchase of tank setup plan, which can be kept completely natural or have an ornate touch, depending on your preferences. Of course, scientifically speaking, keeping fish captive away from natural surroundings does mean they are not really kept in a natural environment, but closely substituting these in the tank makes up for a lot that is lacking in plant and their habitat otherwise. 2. After cloning as much of their natural environment as possible, home aquarium owners will find that these tank fish have a tremendous amount of resilience and adapt easily to new surroundings, for that determines their survival capacity. 3. Understand that a sterile tank container is a device for isolating fish from their beneficial biosphere, and learn about the ways in which you, as a home aquarium owner, can work to incorporate these varied organic parameters to clone the fish's natural atmospheres, so that captive fish of any kind can survive here with minimum distress. It is important to learn about methods you can apply in order to maintain healthy living conditions in the tank for your fishy friends, including knowledge of water purification, oxygenating it, preventing harmful chemical build-up, and learning to detect changes in the eating patterns of the tank inmates. Therefore, a fish caregiver needs to be an observant person, focused on preventing undesirable circumstances in the aquarium as much as a keen hobbyist to upkeep fish. 4. The option of purchasing a framed fish tank as opposed to a simple one is entirely a matter of choice for the owner. However, care must be taken to ensure that the water is always clean in a framed tank, which is the preferred, low-cost option for many people. Some framed aquariums have plastic bodies while others are made of metal. In both cases, the front is chiefly made of strong, water-resistant plexiglass that curtails corrosive action of chemicals and water, but accumulates scuff easily, thus losing much of its visibility over time. The other variety of tanks include those made of glass and lined with silicone-based compound that acts as an adhesive to live up to any amount of wear and tear, proving quite supple in the long run. 5. Home aquarium owners would do well to remember that tank water gathers acids and salts, which need to be regularly measured to test for dangerous levels to prevent fish falling sick. Test kits and buffer units help to control and check for calcium and sodium buildups that can be caused by toxic chemicals, besides other apparatuses that are readily available in the market for judging quality of water. Hard or soft. These are important investments for home aquarium owners, as they need to know the quality of water for the kind of fish they have. Marine fish prefer brackish or hard water, while freshwater fish may like spring, tap, or purified well water. So the owner needs to be aware of these and when to use water free of chlorine. The use of hydrometers for testing the salt levels in the tank water, adding 2-4 fractions of sea salt to every 1,000th part of tank water to increase brackishness for marine fish. How to make water soft, add distilled water. And which variety of fish require acidy water, yellowy brown in color. Can be made with chemical additives for reproduction stage of some fish, will go a long way in helping owners take care of their fishy friends better. Mollies, Guppy Aquarium and Fish Care. The mollies belong to the Pocilia family and are easy to keep in a tank environment. They are akin to the swordtail fish, which belongs to the Xiphophorus helleri group. It has a larger fin than the swordtail, called, and mollies can be of many different shapes and size, reaching up to 4 3/4 inches, sometimes with only the males being an inch or so smaller. The males and females differ in size, coloring, and gonopodium, but both sexes adapt to different living surroundings rather well. From living in an estuary habitat to varying temperatures in a natural environment, mollies can adapt to heat conditions ranging from 72 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit, preferably in hard water conditions. pH level of 7 or 8, which means bright lighting and a certain brackishness should be present in the water besides a variety of suitable plants. The dietary habits of mollies include feeding on veggies, like spinach and algae, and they are more comfortable in areas that have a constant water flow. Being live bearers, mollies typically spawn plentifully due to a lively disposition and ability to adapt easily in a communal tank setup. As for the guppy fish, these belong to the Posilia reticulata family and are offshoots of the Posilidae family. Found mainly in Guyana, Venezuela, and Brazilian waters, they can be traced around the waters surrounding Trinidad and Barbados, as well, since the kind of environment enjoyed here benefits them. This means a temperature range of 68 degrees to 75 degrees Fahrenheit with pH levels as preferred by mollies. The guppies can live in hard water well enough so long as there is plenty of lighting, added plant vegetation, and assorted foodstuff made available to them in the tank environment. Being loose school-natured fish, the guppies need to be on the go constantly with good tank breeding potential. Even as they eat their young, they still manage to reproduce easily enough in community living. Learning about the easiest kind of fish to keep in a home aquarium is the first step towards ensuring you are an informed hobbyist. The next step is to learn about the different kinds of aquariums available and which type is best to duplicate a natural ecosystem aided by advanced technology to provide healthy air and water conditions for the inmates of the tank. Innovative design technology has taken over the huge market for aquariums today, which now come fitted with electrical circuitry of the best kind, plugs, filtration, and oxygenation systems, besides temperature control devices to raise or lower the heat in the water. The enviable choice in lighting for tanks enables an owner today to invest in automatic or mechanical switches, besides automated feeders, to ensure fish are fed in time, besides a host of other accessories that make community living a comfortable option for fish owners looking for variety in aquatic life. Of course, it pays to learn about the kind of fish that can harmoniously coexist with other varieties, including marine or non-marine species and tropical and cold water fish. Preparing your custom-made saltwater aquarium. 1. Getting a customized saltwater aquarium and its inmates is the dream of many who love fishy friends. But knowing you can learn a thing or two from the experts can help reduce the cost of buying a custom-made one. You can buy the tank for storing your saltwater fish easily enough from the local pet store and chalk out a tentative budget for your project to include ornamentation and accessories for it. 2. Cleaning out the aquarium is the first step after buying the tank. It is equally important to cleanse the different parts with fresh water minus soft, with a soft cloth to rid them of dust and chemicals that may have built up during storage, which may harm the fish. 3. Set the tank on a steady stand a little away from a wall so electrical cords, and the plug outlet is accessible without the risk of causing any accidents, as periodic cleaning and feeding the fish will be required. Keep a soft dusting cloth handy near the aquarium to control condensation from the saltwater tank, as this can damage the stand. After ensuring level installation, fill the tank with store-bought saltwater, or you can prepare a solution of your own. Run all tank equipment for a couple of days to test proper functioning and to judge saline, pH, and temp levels of the tank water for the species of marine fish you intend to keep in the tank. 4. After the tank water conditions have been tested, you can move to the final level I, Aquarium landscaping, by removing about half of the water to decorate it with plants, fronds, and rocks, etc., as reducing water levels helps make landscaping easier. After this has been attended to, you can once again replace the water marked previously by you as being the fill line measure. Use a permanent marker for this. It is strongly recommended that to begin keeping an aquarium, a minimum 1-month period be kept aside to determine the ammonia level of the water and the conditions being favorable for the kind of marine fish you want to keep in it. You can choose to do this with the saltwater fish kept inside or minus them. Do not use an ammonia reducer, as this will require you to go over the same process again in order to determine the ammonia content in your tank's living conditions, and rob you of precious time in which you can lie back and enjoy your marine friends swimming about. Purchasing fish for your freshwater aquarium. 1. As a home aquarium owner wanting to purchase freshwater fish, there are a few things you must remember. Of this, the most important is that you know which kind of fish you want to keep and the other species that can stay together with them. The size of the aquarium determines how many fish you can keep comfortably in it by the simple thumb rule of each fish requiring at least 3 inches in each gallon of tank water, so they can discover and grow naturally. Freshwater aquarium fish only grow as big as the space granted them, so you know that the more space you give them in tank water, the longer their lifespan will be. 2. Know your fish species. Especially for the freshwater aquarium setup you have, in order to determine which are the types that can live in captivity, alongside other varieties and the kind of tending they require in order to grow and breed. Also take the time to find out the kind of tank environment will suit the kind of freshwater fish you are keen to buy, the kind of temperature preferable to them, and the food they will be eating as apart from compatibility. These factors also influence the health of your tank inmates. 3. When buying fish for your non-marine aquarium, keep in mind any advantages you can give the tank fish you purchase in terms of investing in fish that consume algae, so the buildup does not affect the maintenance of the tank and makes less work for you. 4. Last but not least, when considering buying fish for your freshwater tank, it is important to know which are the species to avoid buying that can be unfriendly, to say the least. After all, you do not want the fish in your home aquarium to live in an environment of disharmony, do you? So learn as much as you can about which kind are territorial, e.g., catfish that can also grow big in a short time and eat into the space required by others in the tank. Also avoid buying the dangerous or poisonous kinds of fish harmful to keep in a freshwater aquarium, such as piranhas, since these can disease easily and also intimidate the other fish in the tank, which is an expense you want to avoid if you want to keep your fish happy, healthy, and for a long time. Removing algae from your fish aquarium. 1. After you have set up your fish aquarium and enjoyed watching the fish in it swim about under soft or bright lighting, there is the unavoidable possibility of also dealing with scuff and algae buildup, which are natural possibilities to keeping water in an enclosed area where marine residents live and various bodily secretions take place besides plant life exists. This algae may develop through different places in the aquarium, and it's not your fault. Please understand that this buildup is a result of natural conditions of the tank, and at times, it grows because of the strength of the light in the tank, as well as the nutrients existing in the aquarium that promote its growth. 2. You need to understand the nature of algae and the various kinds that exist to ascertain the type growing in your fish tank. Learn about what makes it grow, what can kill it, and ways to remove it with the use of chemicals if it develops in the fish tank. This knowledge will help you stay atop any algae buildup that you can control, if not prevent entirely, since algae growing in the aquarium is a natural process. 3. Once you know of the nutrients that are promoting algae buildup, you can work to minimize or eliminate their levels so the algae do not find circumstances to thrive in. To prevent other slime from accumulating and spoiling the healthy living environment of the tank inmates and have an adverse effect on the cleanliness quotient of your aquarium, clean it immediately when you detect it building up. Begin by changing the tank water and step up to cleansing with chemicals meant to clean algae buildup. 4. Since algae buildup is caused much in part due to the lighting in the tanks, opt for reducing the brightness and heat in your fish aquarium to prevent frequent algae buildup, and to have minimum use of low light levels in it and to be on the safe side. Keep the aquarium out of direct sunlight, since this can lead to algae buildup also. Of course, if you buy a family of fish that eat up algae, you will have naturally used the best way to reduce any buildup, and also found a way to build up your fish collection in the aquarium, so do consider it. After all, you have nothing to lose but algae and everything to gain, including a beautiful and clean aquarium to give you hours of pleasure. How to care for and clean a saltwater aquarium. 1. Most tank owners think setting up a saltwater fish tank absolves them of all aftercare after all. The same fish in the regular marine life take jolly good care of themselves, breed, and lead a happy, long life there. So why should there be any special need for aftercare when they are kept in a home aquarium? But here's where they make the mistake of not realizing that proper cleaning and care of a marine tank is very essential to avoid future health problems the fish may face and to maintain its general upkeep. Begin with purchasing a device to keep the tank water clean, which, by the way, should only be filtered water. You can buy a reverse osmosis kit, available at the local pet store or on the net. The other alternative is to use regular water at required temperature for the kind of marine fish in the tank. Add chemicals to remove chlorine from it and other stuff, and ensure cleaning is done at least once a month. 2. Caring for your saltwater fish tank requires regular maintenance and cleansing, if possible, once every 2 weeks. But it is as important to understand that you do not clean out the good bacteria from too much cleansing. 3. If your saltwater aquarium is relatively new, please remember to let it sit for at least a month before adding fish or plants or even decorations to it. This period is for resting and testing the waters of the tank for the inmates to come. Invest in some inexpensive test strips to check chlorine and pH levels in the tank water if you do not want to lose your precious piscian pals to imbalance in the water levels they usually prefer. After you have ensured that the saltwater aquarium has been set up properly, and the water conditions in it are conducive to keeping fish and other marine creatures, or even botanically beautifying it, do not indulge in removing gravel to clean the tank, as this can upset the delicate chemical balance in the aquarium. 4. Any kind of cleaning supplies you invest in should be thoroughly researched as being advantageous and safe for tank inmates' health and cleanliness levels, and should be effective in cleaning the saltwater aquarium without upsetting its chemical balance, especially if you own an acrylic tank. 5. Learn about the simplest ways to clean tanks and control buildup of scuff and algae that dirty up the saltwater aquarium. You may use phosphate drops to cleanse the marine fish tank water, which prevents buildup too soon or buy a pair of hermit crabs and snails to keep algae at bay. These versatile marine creatures also clean out rocks and gravel in the tank and are often referred to as a tank's cleanup crew. For yourself, you can invest in a good pair of gloves, scraper or scratch pad to shine the glass, as algae is difficult to remove with any old cleaning tool. In closing, please remember that aiming a filter, if using one, should ideally be done downwards into the tank water to avoid buildup of excess salt on the hood of the aquarium. Learn about ideal tank lighting no more than 6 hours daily at a set time, keep tank away from direct sunlight, etc. For the kind of marine fish you have, the best water filter for your tank needs, and the situations that make algae thrive so you know what to avoid and what actions to follow for good marine tank hygiene. Saltwater aquariums from AZ. Purchasing an aquarium. 1. Remember, there is no dearth of variety when it comes to the kind of aquariums you can buy for keeping saltwater residents in them. There are only 2 main considerations. You should consider your budget and the time and effort you can spare to learn about the potential inhabitants of your marine tank and whether you are up to seeing to their regular upkeep. 2. There is a wide variety of the types, construction material, size, and ornamentation available for saltwater aquariums that really end up making consumers feel number of choices available and the belief that there is no sure-shot formula for success when it comes to building a saltwater aquarium. It can be very difficult for fish tank enthusiasts to decide which type of fish tank they should buy. There are many factors to be considered before anyone, with any plans of setting up a fish tank should consider before ever setting foot inside a pet store. 3. The next consideration is the size of the tank. If you are a beginner, you should opt for a small size aquarium and set your skills on maintaining the tank and the inhabitants. You will get a fairly good idea within a couple of months on how many fish a particular size aquarium will hold and how to go about taking care of it. 4. Choose the fish for your aquarium wisely. If you are going to keep even the smallest variety of saltwater carnivore fish in the tank, you should ensure that they have plenty of space to swim around. If the tank is crowded and small, the small variety of shark will get aggressive and damage the other show fish in the tank. 5. Choose the material the tank is made of wisely. Aquariums are made of 2 materials, glass and acrylic. Glass is the better choice as it does not scratch easily, though care must be taken to prevent cracking. While cleaning the aquarium, acrylic is very easily scratched, and in no time at all you will feel the need to replace it, an expensive proposition. 6. Never keep more than 10 fish in a 2 cubic foot tank. If you want to keep more fish, you should purchase a larger tank. 7. The foliage in the tank should be natural. Do not go for the artificial aquarium plants, as the natural plants serve as breeding grounds for bacteria the fish feed on as well as help clean the aquarium water. 8. Ensure that the tank comes with an aerator and water filter. There are many electric accessories that are easily available to choose from. 9. Gravel is an important part of an aquarium. It not only helps the water filter keep the water clean, but it also adds to the beauty of the tank. 10. Lighting should be adequate and not too strong. A small fluorescent tube will suffice. Ensure that your tank has all these accessories before you begin to put fish into it. Your aquarium will not be complete if any of these items are missing. Do I really want a saltwater aquarium? The saltwater aquarium is one of the most sought-after types of fish tanks, even though it can be more difficult to actually maintain and even more costly. It offers you the ability to have a wider variety of fish, many of which are attractive and fun choices to make. But if you are considering this type of fish tank to have in your home or in your place of business, you really should know the difference between these two types of aquariums. Deciding the most essential way to choose which type of tank to have is to know which ones will provide you with the fish that you want to have. If you are looking to own a goldfish, for example, you'll want to stick to the freshwater tanks. On the other hand, if you would love to own a clownfish, go with the saltwater. If you have no idea what types of fish you would like to own, then take the time to check out a few species to determine which ones may just work the best for your needs and desires. You should also realize that there are differences in these tanks. The freshwater aquarium is one which will be easier to maintain, no salt to deal with here. It will also offer a higher amount of fish in its tank. Of course, it also provides for you the ability to purchase the least expensive types of fish around too. If you are looking for something a little more challenging and more rewarding too, consider the saltwater fish aquariums. Although they do require more work on your part, you get a wider range of fish to choose from. You also will have the ability to create your own little ocean, full of all sorts of different ocean life in it. Consider things like your budget and the amount of time that you have available to take care of these fish. You may also want to consider the amount of room that you have for the fish tank. While you can have a smaller saltwater aquarium, many people are looking to have a much larger aquarium. This is quite normal, yet requires that much more attention and needs. Weigh your choices carefully so that you can find the right choice for your needs. If you do go with the saltwater aquarium, you will find a wide range of options ready and waiting for you to learn about. Taking care of your saltwater aquarium. There are several things that you will need to do to take care of your saltwater aquarium. Since you just invested a good deal of money into only not the aquarium itself, but in the fish that you are going to stock it with, it makes sense to take some time to learn about the things you need to do to maintain your tank. Doing so is not necessarily hard to do, but it is something that you need to do if you plan to keep your tank up and running and your investment in fish well worth it. It is not hard to do though. To help you, here is a checklist of the things that you need to do to keep your saltwater aquarium up and running at its best level. Test your water every 2 weeks. There are several things that you need to test the water for. These include the ammonia levels, the salinity level, the pH level, the nitrite and the nitrate levels. These things are easy to test for and really only take seconds to do. You will want to know what the normal levels of these items should be, which you can easily learn from your pet store clerk prior to purchasing your fish. If your level of pH is too high, you can adjust it by adding 1 tablespoon at a time of baking soda to the water. Make sure to allow it to completely dissolve before adding more. If your level of salinity is too low, you can easily adjust this by adding salt to your water. If your level of salt is too high, which is commonly the case, you will need to add dechlorinated water to the tank. This happens naturally as the water in the tank begins to evaporate. It will level the salt concentrates in the water remaining. Add the appropriate levels of iodine and calcium to your tank. To know what levels and how often to do this, talk to your fish clerk about what the right amounts are. These are generally specific to the type of fish that you own. Once a week, you should remove 10% of the water from your fish tank and replace it with fresh, dechlorinated water. This will keep the water fresh. Once every few months, remove 25% of the water in your tank and replace with fresh, dechlorinated water. Keep your water temperature at 75 to 80 degrees unless you have fish that prefer a different level of temperature. Maintenance of the tank is also necessary. Keep algae off the interior cover and walls of the tank. Check the filter pads and test its alkalinity as needed. You will also need to clean out the gravel in the tank as well. Doing these things will help you to keep your saltwater aquarium up and running at its peak performance, and it will keep your fish happy. Why choose a saltwater aquarium? A saltwater aquarium can provide you with a wide range of benefits. If you are used to walking around the department store and selecting the perfect little goldfish to take home with you, then you may be ready to move from the freshwater fish tanks to the ocean life. There are many differences in the two types of tanks, of course. The main reason for this is due to the types of fish that you can have in the aquarium. Yet, there are many more reasons why you should consider going with a saltwater aquarium rather than that of a freshwater. So, step back and put the goldfish back down. It's time for you to explore ocean life. The benefits to consider: you get a wider variety of fish to choose from. No matter what anyone says, you may just be able to have more interesting fish in your saltwater aquarium than you can have in any type of freshwater aquarium. They are usually more full of color, more varied in their shapes and sizes, and are often much more interesting to gaze at from across the room. You will also be providing yourself with a bit of a challenge. In the saltwater aquarium, you are likely going to need to put a little more time into caring for your fish tank. You will need to check the quality and the salt levels in the water on a daily or weekly basis, depending on the type of fish you own. You will also need to check out the health of your fish as well. This only takes a second, but will provide you with more respect and admiration for your little guys. Children can benefit from a saltwater aquarium too. If you provide them with a good-sized one, you will be able to teach them about ocean life. Not only can you create an aquarium that will house the fish that you love, but you can create a world that is above the sea level that is just as amazing and full of information that the children will love to learn. The saltwater aquarium is a choice that you have. You are sure to find that it is cheaper to own a freshwater tank and that those fish are less expensive, but you will not find them to be more interesting and intriguing than the fish over here in a saltwater aquarium. How to choose a saltwater aquarium? When it comes to choosing a saltwater aquarium, your job is to select the one that is right for your needs. You may find that there are many types of aquariums to choose from different materials to different sizes. If you compare your options, though, you are sure to see that you will need to carefully consider your needs and desires here. The saltwater aquarium should be chosen carefully, and it is always wise to ensure that your choice is one that you can actually take care of too. The material. The first thing that you will need to choose is the type of material that the saltwater aquarium will be made from. You have two main choices. First, you have the option of glass. This is the less expensive of the two and provides for a decent ability. You can easily clean it too. The other option is that of acrylic. Now, these are usually better choices because you can see through them better than you can glass, and they are much stronger than glass. Yet, probably the most important reason to consider acrylic aquariums is the fact that they can be purchased in all sorts of shapes and sizes, which allows you to have them fitting perfecting in your home. You should not use anything such as a glass bowl or a vase for your saltwater fish, as this is much too small and dangerous for your fish. Size counts too. You should also consider the size of the saltwater aquarium that you will be selecting. The larger the aquarium is, the better your fish will enjoy it. It can also provide for them a better living arrangement. Yet, the larger it is, the more costly as well as the more difficult it will be to keep it clean. Usually, you will want to stick with between 20 and 55-gallon tanks for this job. You should also carefully consider the types of fish that you plan to put into the tank. Each fish will need a specific amount of room to call their own. Some fish will need more room to swim than others will. Choose the right tank for the fish types that you would like to own. Finally, when choosing the right aquarium, make sure you take into consideration the amount of weight that the tank will have. You will likely need to ensure that the table that you put the tank on can withstand the weight of the tank full of water and fish. If you plan to put your tank into a wall, make sure it is strong enough to accommodate this too. Getting started with a saltwater aquarium. Once you have decided that you will own a saltwater aquarium, you will want to jump right in and get started at purchasing and filling your tank. But there are some things to consider when it comes to these tanks. Since this will serve as your fish, your expensive fish, mind you home, you will want to ensure that you provide for it the best possible space for their needs. Here are some easy steps to help you to choose the right aquarium and to get the most for your money. Choose the types of fish that you would like to own. You should do this first, because each fish will require a different amount of room in your tank. If you really want to have a larger fish, then you will need to purchase a more extensive aquarium to call your own. If you only want to purchase smaller species, then you do not want to waste your money on a much too big aquarium. Choose your tank based on your needs. Not only will you want to choose the right tank based on the types of fish that you will place into it, but you will also want to ensure that your tank is strong enough for the amount of water that it will hold, that it is well built so that you do not need to worry about any problems, as well as it should be placed on a surface that is strong enough to easily hold its weight full of water. Consider prices. There are many choices when it comes to saltwater aquariums. You may be tempted to purchase the one that you saw at the local pet store. But before you do this, you may want to check out your options in other locations as well. If you know what you are looking for, a second-hand store or even garage sales may provide you with the right type of aquarium, but this is hard to do. Instead, consider using the web to help you to find the right price on your aquarium. You can also consider purchasing a kit for your saltwater aquarium, yet these can be costly. If you need all that is included in the kit, then it may be worth more than it would if you were to purchase pieces individually. Yet, it is an option that you have to consider in most cases. Filling your saltwater aquarium. Once you have chosen your saltwater aquarium, you can begin working on filling it up the fish that you would like to own. But before you do this, you will want to take some time to consider the options that you have. You can put much more than just fish into your aquarium. But remember this, whatever you do put into the tank, you will need to ensure that your fish will still have enough room to swim about as they please. If your tank is smaller, then you may need to limit what you put into it otherwise. Nevertheless, consider your options. Your saltwater aquarium can actually be stocked with more than just your fish. You may want to consider purchasing a reef tank instead of just a fish tank. If you are new to fish, though, a standard tank can be much easier to clean as well as maintain. If you are ready for more of a challenge, you will definitely benefit from the reef tank. This tank can provide you with some very beautiful qualities, including things like coral and anemones. You can even base your entire tank around these things if you would like to. Fish next. The next thing that you will want to consider is the fish. The best things to start in your saltwater fish tank, including fish such as damselfish, mollies, and clownfish. These are the best starter fish to begin with because of their size, ability to survive, and the ease of care that they provide to you. Once you do this, you can add in other fish including grammas, triggerfish, tangs, and even wrasses. Remember to always keep in mind the amount of fish and the aquarium size. If you would like to add something besides standard fish, you can even go with things such as hermit crabs, shrimp, and sea urchins. Beginners beware. You have seen them and you would love to have them, but fish such as jellyfish, seahorses, angelfish, anemones, and eels are very hard to care for fish. If you really would like to own one of these, make sure that you advance your fishing knowledge through hands-on practice before investing in these creatures. When you go to purchase your fish, Always take the time to ensure that they are completely healthy, as well as from a healthy-looking tank. If you walk into your pet store and wonder what smells bad, wonder what is floating in the water, or are not sure that the salespeople know what they are doing, don't buy from them. More than likely, the fish will not survive long. Saltwater aquariums. Questions you need to ask. When you are on the hunt for the perfect fish for your saltwater aquarium, you should take some time to do several things. First, you should know what you are looking for. Take some time to really learn about the fish that will work well together in your tank. You should also think about how much room they need, as well as what type of care they will need from you as well. You can do much of your learning right here on the web when it comes to actually stocking your saltwater aquarium. Though, there are several things that you should ask your salesperson before you purchase the fish. Remember to always purchase fish from a trusted pet store. You should feel comfortable with the quality of the fish that they provide. If you have any doubts about the place and plan to purchase expensive fish from them, really consider what you are doing. You can probably find a better location to purchase your fish from. With that said, there are some things that you should ask when it comes to the fish that you plan to purchase to fill your saltwater aquarium. Here are some. What type of care do you need to provide to the fish? In most cases, you will want to know the basics here. It is necessary for you to know not only what the fish needs, but also what the fish has been accustomed to while living at the pet store. This can help the fish to survive better when you bring him home to your aquarium. What type of food does the fish need to eat, as well as how much, and when is it eating? Again, this may be specific to the pet store, and it may be specific to the animal as well. The goal is, though, to ensure that you provide your pet fish with the best quality of foods as you can. What levels of water quality does the fish need? You should know the type of pH level it needs, the salinity that it needs, as well as the temperature of the water that it needs. You will need to ensure that you can meet all of these needs in your tank, as well as that this fish needs to have the same levels as the fish you already have in your tank. Finally, ask your sales clerk about the aggressiveness of the fish. You need to know if this fish and that fish will work well together, or if they are going to kill each other. Really, it is as simple as that. Learning this information can help you to get the best results for your saltwater aquarium. You will have the knowledge that you need to have a successful aquarium too. Saltwater aquariums, adding fish. When it comes to adding fish to your saltwater aquarium, you may be ready to go and wanting to quickly fill it up. You just spent a good amount of money on your tank. You may have even purchased something that is very attractive, and now you want to have fish in it. Yet, before you just head to the pet store and grab a bunch of fish to dump into your tank, you really do need to know a few things before you get started. By doing this, you will help to ensure that your fish get the best chance at life in your saltwater aquarium as they can have. Realizations. It is important for you to realize a few things about the fish that will soon call your aquarium home. First off, not all fish can live in the same aquarium together. Some fish will require different levels of salinity, different pH levels, and even different water temperatures. You will need to find fish that can tolerate the same conditions. Also, some fish are more aggressive than others. You do not want your expensive fish being killed by the big, tough one. Another thing to take note of is the fact that you should ensure that your fish are adding to the tank slowly. Fish do not react well to change. They need the same types of elements to be present in the water that they were just in, as well as in the water that they will be in. You will want to add fish only a few at a time to the tank. You will want to make sure that, whenever you do add them, that the ammonia and nitrite levels are at a level of 0. This is generally going to happen after the tank has cycled. Also, take note that you should realize how many fish that you should have in that aquarium. A good rule of thumb is to remember this. For every 10 gallons of salt water in your aquarium, you can have up to 3 inches of fish in your tank. Providing these aspects to your fish is necessary if you plan to keep them long. When you take these steps, you are allowing the fish to get accustomed to the location that they will be in and giving them the best opportunity to survive. If you will be spending money on fish, there is no reason not to get the best results from your aquarium. Saltwater aquariums, knowing your fish. Once you have your fish stocked in your saltwater aquarium, you are done right. This is not the case. You still have things to do, including learning more about your fish. Just like people, all fish are different from each other. Some like to eat at specific times, while others want to eat whenever they feel like it. One thing is for sure, just like babies, you will need to provide them with all aspects of their care. This can be more than just a chore, though. It can be quite fun and enjoyable even. Saltwater aquariums require that you do take time to take care of your fish. Most of what you will need to know about your saltwater aquariums you will be able to learn right from your pet store clerk, assuming that you have one that you trust and that is knowledgeable. You will want to know certain aspects about your fish before you take them home. For example, you should know what types of fish you can stock together in your tank. You should know the types of water that they need to survive in, including the pH levels, the salinity levels, and the temperatures that the fish need. All fish that you put into your tank should have similar needs in these things. Once you get them in there, you will need to feed them. In most cases, saltwater fish tend to need to eat every 3 days, but this varies for each species. This is something that you should know before you purchase your fish. You should also know what they will like to eat. Some will require that you provide them with a varied diet, including things such as cut-up shrimp and even romaine lettuce. This will help them to have a balanced diet. You should also be able to take note of any differences that you see in your fish from time to time. That means that you should watch the animal swim and eat and know what its normal is. If you notice something is wrong or something seems different, the fish may be sick. This can be caused by the water that the fish is in or a number of other conditions. You can find all sorts of products to put into your tank to help them to stay healthy or to recover. You can talk to your vet about any problems that you may notice and see what is recommended specifically. It is also important to note that fish just do not live as long as people do. Therefore, you can expect to have to replace them as well. Maintaining your saltwater aquarium. You spent a good deal of time and money putting together your saltwater aquarium. Now, you are ready and able to fill it with the fish that you have loved to own. Yet, just because you are stocking it full of the fish that you want does not mean that you are done taking care of it. The leading cause of deaths in fish in saltwater aquariums is that they are not in the right quality of water. It is essential, as a fish owner, for you to take care in maintaining the tank's water quality. This is your largest responsibility even. To do this, though, there are several things that you need to do in order to make sure that you have the best quality of water and the right conditions for your fish to be in. You will need to test several things within your tank every 2 weeks. You should not do this testing when you have just added water to the fish tank or when you have just added a new fish to your tank. These things will throw off the quality of water instantly. Check nitrate levels, salinity levels, pH levels, ammonia levels, nitrite levels. To know if these levels are right on, you will need to know what your fish need to have. This is something that you should know before you even purchase your fish. You will want to find out what needs the fish have and ensure that all the varieties of fish that you place into the saltwater aquarium agree on these levels. Now, if the levels are off from what they should be, you should purchase the right chemicals to help to level them out. These can be found at your local pet supply store that stocks fish or you can find them on the web. If your pH levels are off, you can adjust them by adding a tablespoon of baking soda to the tank in cases where you need to raise it. In cases where you need to increase the level of salinity, add table salt to the water. If the water in your tank is too salty, which is common, you can add dechlorinated water to the tank to balance this out. Taking care of your saltwater aquarium will become more like a task that is natural and normal rather than a challenge and too much trouble. Taking care of your fish is a great way to learn more about them and to get to interact with them. You can become mesmerized in their beauty too. 55-gallon freshwater aquarium. 14 easy tips for maintenance. When you decide to purchase a new aquarium, a 55-gallon freshwater aquarium is quite a good option. Its size is big enough to accommodate several fishes at a time, yet can be placed in very less space in your home or the office. While the local retailers could very well assist you regarding all the specifics involved in these types of aquariums, here are some simple tips to understand the basics of aquarium maintenance. 1. To make an ideal 55-gallon freshwater tank, one should always opt for an acrylic tank over the glass aquarium. It is because the acrylic tanks are very light in weight and are far easier to manage. The acrylic tanks also have a better visibility than the glass tank. 2. Make sure to purchase a suitable stand for your fish tank before purchasing the fish tank, so that you must place it safe and accurately. 3. You would need several equipments to maintain the fish tank, such as heater and thermometer, to maintain and watch the temperature of the water in the fish tank. 4. A normal 55-gallon freshwater fish tank would require around 5 bags of rocks. You can also select among other substrates that you would require to line the bottom of your tank. Make sure to pick a very bright color in order to your fish tank rather interesting. 5. Further, you would need a filter to on your fish tank, so that water in there must be clean and safe for your fishes. The market is flooded with many types of filters, so the experts always advise to research well before purchasing a filter. The type of filter you purchase sheerly depends on the type of fish tank you have. 6. Certain filters are placed beneath the substrates that are at the bottom of your tank, and there are also those that are placed at the side of your aquarium. Filters can be very expensive. It is not always necessary to buy the priciest one. Many a times, the basic filters are also just apt. 7. Your aquarium would also require the right lighting. The fishes respond to light in a very positive manner, yet they need a balance of lights in and out. You can either opt to keep the lighting of the fish tank very basic, or may shift to some very technical settings. For most types of fishes, switching on the basic light for a few hours a day is great. 8. Make sure that your fish tank contains ample amount of plants. They not only beautify the fish tank, but also purify the water in the tank by absorbing the chemicals and providing oxygen. The water plants break down water and ammonia. Then these plants filter the ammonia and the bad or contaminated part of the water, that is the portion that contains bacteria. Plants maintain the balance between all the chemicals in the fish tank as the fishes produce lot of ammonia. Also, the fish love to hide away in the plants. There are many varieties of freshwater plants to place in your 55-gallon aquarium. 9. In case you do not want to get hassled with the live plants, you can also opt to purchase the plastic ones. Unless and until the fish try to eat the plants, the synthetic plants variety available out there is so impressive that your fish would never be able to figure out the difference between the real and the plastic plants. 10. Once the tank is all set to welcome your fish, you can choose from a large variety of starter fishes. In case you want to start with the hardy fishes, try keeping some live bearers such as barbs, gouramis, and danios. These fishes are naturally capable enough to handle the high nitrate levels in your fish tank. 11. Before adding some new companions for these fishes, wait for a month, that is 30 days, so that your earlier fish get acclimated to their tank. 12. Make sure to keep a watch over your fishes, else you might never know if they are ill or at unrest. Usually such symptoms show up only after 30 days. 13. While transporting your new fish, be careful and take good guidance from the pet shop from where you purchase them and some trained people in this hobby. Else, you might make the fish ill. 14. Ideally, a 55-gallon freshwater aquarium is capable enough to handle around 15 to 20 small fishes. In total, make sure that your fish tank gives them enough space to grow and play healthily. Know your fish and aquarium. 22 points to remember. Once you have gathered all the materials required for an aquarium, you must first learn how to maintain your aquarium that is taking care of your fish and keeping aquarium clean. Before purchasing the materials required for the aquarium, you must search the market well and gather as much information as possible. Some of the materials required for making an aquarium are A. Container or the aquarium. B. Filters. C. Heaters. D. Gravel. L. Floss. F. Buffers. G. Food. H. Fish, etc. In order to help you better maintain the fish and the aquarium, here are some helpful tips. Heaters. 1. These are quite necessary to maintain the tropical fish. 2. However, before purchasing the filters and heater, you must check on their size and that they perfectly fit into your aquarium. 3. They must not capture any unnecessary space. 4. In case your tank is too small to fit in these, you would surely require a larger tank. Materials required. An aquarium calls for several other purchases as accessories and for apt maintenance. Some of these items are plants, gravel, food, ornaments, test kits, water treatment, etc. All these items have different purposes to solve, like gravel maintains the natural resources in the fish tank. Ornaments provide for a lively decor. Fish feel at home with the plants, and food is necessary for your fish to survive. The test kit keeps a watch on the water quality. Water treatment becomes a must, as the tap water that is usually used in the aquarium is not pure enough in most of the areas. Here follows the procedure of making the aquarium. 1. First of all, fill a bucket of water and rinse the gravel washing of the dirt, grime, and germs. 2. Then add water to your tank once the gravel is purified. 3. Further add half of the water actually required for the tank. 4. Next, add the ornaments and plants to your aquarium. 5. This makes the job of additives completed for the aquarium. 6. Now finally add the tank with the water in full quantity required. 7. Now use the manual that you have received with your tank. Follow the outlines mentioned in this manual to fill your tank properly. 8. Next, move to placing the heater and filtration systems in the tank. 9. In order to fit in the heater and filters safely and properly, follow the instructions mentioned in the manual you have received with these equipments. 10. Finally, you add the water treatment system to the tank. This purifies the harmful chemicals form the water, like metal, copper, metal, and other related elements. 11. Now, before adding the fish to the tank, either make use of the specialized products that enable you doing that safely. Else, we recommended you to wait at least a few weeks prior to adding life to your tank. 12. A tank filled with water has some natural bacteria that produce naturally. These bacteria must be filtered out of the water so as to keep your fish healthy and safe. So once the water in aquarium is settled, Use your test kit to check if the water is perfectly clean or not. It must also be checked that the water has the right temperature and all the chemicals in it are balanced. 13. Now, after the final verification of the water in the tank, add your fish in small quantities. Know your fish. Here are some types of fish that we recommend you to place in your aquarium. 1. The most recommended one is damsel. It is a saltwater fish. 2. Remember, the aggressive fish would always devour the passive fish. Hence, is saltwater we recommend you to place some aggressive fish. To be precise, only 2 of one type, and you can add more slowly and gradually. 3. In case you opt to keep some fresh water fish, it is advisable to choose out of the passive fishes. 4. However, you cannot have both the salt water fish and the fresh water fish in one tank. So in that case, you must consider having 2 separate tanks. 5. For the starters, we suggest fishes like white cloud mountain minnow, goldfish, danio, etc. 6. Further, you can try having a bristle nose that is type of passive fish. It grows approximately 5 inches. 7. Similar to the bristle nose, the otocinclus is another type of passive fish. This grows around 2 inches. An otocinclus loves to live in the rocks and plant areas. 8. Plecostomas, another passive fish, grows around 24 inches and lives in and around rocks and plants. 9. Vadale and marble are other varieties of passive fishes. These both grow approximately 6 inches and love to live in and around plants and rocks. Maintaining your goldfish aquarium. 25 easy tips. There are several hobbies one can have that turn into real passion someday. One among them is maintaining an aquarium. This hobby, though, is a serious one, as there is no room for mistakes, else you shall land up harming or killing a living creature. A beautiful and fun fish maintained in your aquarium is a goldfish. Here are some easy tips to follow to have a fun pet in that beautiful aquarium for years together. 1. The life expectancy of a goldfish is 5 to 10 years, depending upon your way of maintaining it. 2. Make sure that you purchase the fish only when you are done with the preparation, that is setting the aquarium up to date for your new pet. 3. Supply a good amount of food to the fish so that it lives healthy. 4. Make sure that the water in the tank is always fresh and clear. 5. Before adding fish to the tank, make sure that your tank is absolutely ready with everything required just in place. 6. While preparing the tank, check that the gravel you add to the tank is absolutely clean. For cleaning the gravel, first of all, fill a bucket of water and rinse the gravel, washing of the dirt, grime, and germs. 7. Remember, goldfish is quite messy creature, so keep the layer of the gravel very thin. 8. Next, add the ornaments and plants to your aquarium. 9. Before adding the water to the tank, check that the additives are all added to the tank, that too all clean and well rinsed. 10. Goldfish is very active creature, so give it lot of space to swim in the tank. 11. Also, do not forget to create 1 or 2 places for the fish to hide. This would make it more playful. 12. Now finally add the water to the fish tank. 13. Make sure to plat a dechlorinator in the tank, as the chlorine content in the usual tap water can indeed be poisonous for your fish. 14. Now when the fish tank is all set, turn on that filter. Also make sure that the filter must be changed quite often, as this keeps your fish healthy. 15. As the goldfish live at a room temperature, you would need a heater. The ideal temperatures for a goldfish are 68 to 80 degrees. Also, the goldfish cannot bear any rapid changes in the temperature. 16. You can also opt to keep that filter on in the tank for a day or 2 before adding the fish to the tank, as it would clean up any germs or bacteria left in the gravel, additives, or the water. 17. Now add the fishes gradually to the tank. Actually, the fish excrete ammonia that initially makes the water unhealthy for the fishes to live in, and the cleaning up process takes time to settle down. Adding too many fishes to the tank in one go might kill your fishes. 18. Further, as the water in the goldfish tank ages on, it starts developing some very beneficial bacteria that make your fish rather healthy, though it is a very time-taking process. These bacteria primarily convert the harmful chemicals excreted of the fishes that live in there to beneficial ones. Hence, the bottom line is to start with one fish only. 19. Also, you must know that the nitrogen cycle would not initiate until and unless you add fish to the tank. Hence, running the empty tank for quite a lot of days would not do any help. 20. For the new fish tank, you must consider changing around 25% of its total water every few days. This must be done for at least the first few weeks or so. 21. You can get goldfish food at any and all the pet shops. While purchasing the first goldfish of yours, be sure to purchase some food for it. Remember that you should feed only small amounts of the food initially. 22. The food that remains settles down at the bottom and rots down finally. This rotten food develops severely toxic chemicals that can kill your fish, so try to maintain the least amount of remaining food. The trick to do it simply is to watch your fish while feeding them. Only put in the amount of food it consumes in the first 2-3 minutes, that to only twice a day. In case of food, also make sure to read through the label of the goldfish that you always get on the purchase of the fish. 23. The nitrogen cycle that takes place in the fish tank clears away the toxic chemicals being generated in therein to beneficial ones. This cycle generates foam that makes the water cloudy for some time. This is a natural process, and you do not have to worry if this happens. Rather, it proves that the tank is healthy enough for the fish. 24. Also, be sure that you do not add any new fish to the tank until and unless the water in there is crystal clear. 25. Goldfish grow up to be quite large, and yet they require all the more space in the tank to swim. Overcrowding the tank would make your fish unhealthy and might kill them as well. Following these guidelines, we are sure your fish tank would be a good aquarium for your goldfish to live in. Aquarium Care Guide. 20 easy tips. There are several hobbies one can have that turn into real passion someday. One among them is maintaining an aquarium. This hobby, though, is a serious one, as there is no room for mistakes, else you shall land up harming or killing a living creature. The first and foremost thing you must understand before deciding to take care of an aquarium and its fishes is that prior to purchasing the fishes, you must prepare the fish tank and make it apt for the fish to live in. This process needs a lot of patience and knowledge, else you might land up killing those beautiful creatures. For preparing the fish tank, you must first add the gravel and all other additives in the tank. Make sure that all these decorations are rinsed well, so that the water is free of all harmful bacteria. The process of preparing the tank can take anywhere between 24 hours and 4 weeks. Make sure that you do not use any soap while washing these substrates. Next, fill in the tank with dechlorinated water. Attach the filters and lighting. Now, allow the tank to cycle until at least once the water becomes clouded. Then allow the cloud to settle down. Make use of that test kit to check for the optimal temperature of water and for the sufficient pH. Also, be sure that you do not add any new fish to the tank until and unless the water in there is crystal clear. Actually, when the aquarium is fully functional, some bacteria support the breakdown of ammonia into nitrates. These bacteria are generated from the existing fish, hence, they are not there in a non-active fish tank. So, the crux of this explanation is that Without any existing fish, there would be no good bacteria in the tank water. This is called as the nitrogen cycle. You must know that the nitrogen cycle would not initiate until and unless you add fish to the tank. Hence, running the empty tank for quite a lot of days would not do any help. The nitrogen cycle that takes place in the fish tank clears away the toxic chemicals being generated in therein to beneficial ones. This cycle generates foam that makes the water cloudy for some time. This is a natural process, and you do not have to worry if this happens. Rather, it proves that the tank is healthy enough for the fish. Here are some simple points to understand what nitrogen exactly is. 1. Like all living beings, the fishes eat food and generate waste or excreta. 2. This waste combines with the excess food that settles down at the base of the tank and the plant debris forming ammonia in your aquarium. 3. Ammonia is quite toxic and hence pretty harmful for the fishes. Therefore, we need to imply a mechanism to break it down. 4. This mechanism is the nitrifying of bacteria. 5. These bacteria turn the ammonia in the aquarium into nitrites that are rather tolerable to the fishes. 6. Next, the varied nitrifying bacteria would convert the nitrites into nitrates that are further less toxic for the fish and other aquarium life. 7. These nitrates are collected and minimized by filters. They would eventually accumulate in your tank. Know your fish. Here are some types of fish that we recommend you to place in your aquarium. 1. Hardy fishes like barb, danios, gouramis, and other live bearers are known for their ability to withstand quite high nitrite levels and ammonia that are generated in a new aquarium. 2. Check that the ideal way is to introduce only one fish at a time and gradually increase the number of fishes in the tank. You could also consider starting with 4 different types of hardy fishes, one of each type. 3. The right way to add a fish in the tank is that you must afloat the fish in a bag into the aquarium for around 15 minutes prior to leaving them in the tank. This would help your fish get acclimated to the temperature of the water in its new home. 4. Make sure that you do not add the water of the fish bag into the aquarium, as this water might be contaminated, or would at times affect the temperature of the aquarium and the pH level of the water in there. 5. Before giving the first ever feed to the fish, give it at least 2 hours to get acquainted with its new house. 6. While purchasing the first fish of yours, be sure to purchase some food for it. Remember that you should feed only small amounts of the food initially. 7. The food that remains settles down at the bottom and rots down finally. This rotten food becomes debris and develops severely toxic chemicals that can kill your fish, that is ammonia. So, try to maintain the least amount of remaining food. This thing must be taken in the newly set up aquariums, especially those that lack the nitrifying bacteria. 8. The trick to do it simply is to watch your fish while feeding them. Only put in the amount of food it consumes in the first 2-3 minutes, that to only twice a day. In case of food, also make sure to read through the label of the fish that you always get on the purchase of the fish. 9. During the first month, make sure to test the level of pH in the water every day. 10. In case the tank is getting cloudy, it is time to add some clarifiers in the water. 11. Monitor your fish well enough for any signs of ailment or stress. 12. The usual behavior study of the fish in the aquarium explains that the healthy fish would swim regularly, and the lethargic ones would usually hover around the surface of its aquarium. 13. Hence, water in the tank must be changed regularly, especially when it is new. For the new fish tank, you must consider changing around 10% of its total water every few days. This must be done for at least the first few weeks or so. Aquarium filter. While setting up any aquarium, there are several essential gadgets involved, like the heater, the test kit, and the filter. Fishes are normal living beings that eat food and excrete waste. Also, as a natural process, water develops some bacteria. The filter in the fish tank cleans up all these germs and unwanted elements to keep the water clean and safe for your beloved pets. The two basic types of filters are external filtration systems, internal filtration systems. The filters for your aquarium are readily available at the local fish shop. The local pet shops are probably not the right place to look for the filters. The internal filtration system. These are used for the saltwater and freshwater aquariums. Usually, this tank works in the following manner. 1. The saltwater aquariums contain an internal tube that allows the water to flow down into a sump tank. 2. The sump tank is just below your main tank. 3. All the water in the fish tank is made to pass through certain kind of foam. 4. Here all the wastes and the bad bacteria get accumulated thereby, filtering the water. 5. This water is then finally pumped back to the top in the main tank. 6. This is a continuous process in every aquarium. 7. This is very noisy and pricey filtration, yet all the worth as it is very effective. In fact, is considered the second best available in the market. 8. These types of filters are usually expensive as they are tailor-made as per your tank, but often they are not worthy of that heavy expenditure. The third best option available in the market is a large black internal filter. This works in the following manner. 1. A large black rectangular structure is fitted inside the tank. 2. This rectangular filter sucks up the water in the tank along with the waste in there through its bottom. 3. Then this water passes through the filter. 4. It is quite inexpensive and affordable filter. The external filtration system. This is the most effective and hence the most expensive system available in the market. But the expense made on these is all the worth. This filter is basically quite hard-working machinery that is placed outside your fish tank. While it works just like the two internal filtration systems explained above, here the connecting element amidst the tank and the filter is the long black tube. As it is comparatively silent and extremely effective, it is worth all the expenses made. Caring for tropical fish in the freshwater aquarium. 12 easy tips. The tropical fish can reside well in a freshwater aquarium only if you take good care of them. Here can be some major issue that you would not be able to see on the surface, yet they would be there in any case. So, you must educate yourself in this regard in order to enhance the life and health of your fish. Gathering the right information on maintenance of your fishes can easily help your tropical fish live longer in that freshwater aquarium. Here are some key points to remember. 1. Remember that poor quality of water can considerably harm the tropical fish. 2. In case your aquarium comprises of a large amount of algae, it can result in major damage to the tropical fish. 3. Lack of oxygen is also a matter of concern when it comes to taking care of the tropical fish is a freshwater aquarium. 4. To ensure the health of your tropical fish in a freshwater aquarium, you must make sure as to the water in there is balanced. 5. Test the fish tank's water regularly in regards to a proper level of oxygen and salinity in it. 6. The water testing kits are available at all local pet stores. These are useful to ensure the proper properties of water. These tests must be conducted at least once a week. 7. In case you come across any problem in the matching of the properties, you must check on the corrective measures. 8. Feed your fish properly. There is a large variety of fish food available in the market. 9. While picking the right fish food for your pets, make sure to read the contents and ingredients. The fish food must comprise of proteins, amino acids, and other essential nutrients. This would ensure that your fishes are getting a healthy diet, its digestion is functioning properly, and its overall color is maintained. 10. Make sure to read through the instruction manual that you get with the fish food to know the right quantity you have to feed to the fish. 11. Just like humans, the tropical fish could suffer severe ailments if given too much or too less food. 12. Check of the lighting in the aquarium and make sure that it is apt for your fish to live healthy. In case the aquarium is overexposed to direct sunlight, or if the fish tank has a lot of light, the growth of algae in the fish tank catches up a lot of pace that can be harmful for your fishes. Creating the perfect reef aquarium. 12 tips on right creativity. Nature has given us varied, beautiful seasonal differentiations to enjoy that are from white snow-tipped mountains to lush green lands. When it comes to the water, there is a whole new world to search. The water creatures can be phenomenally beautiful and beyond our imagination. Similarly, the water plants are all unique attractive. The constant studies and research has proved that no two coral reefs are alike. These reefs are all one of its kind, amazingly attractive, and all those who see them want to get them home with themselves. This can be done with some effort and lot of creativity, but the fact remains that there is no predefined formula to grow these at home. Creating that picturesque saltwater aquarium, you have to choose from various costly and average-priced ornaments. The whole game at the end is about striking the right balance between imaginations, frugality, aesthetics, ecological balance, and the financial aspects. Here are some points you must know in order to grow one of these reefs at your home aquarium. 1. The size of the aquarium must be well planned and apt for your fishes to live healthy. 2. Fishes need a lot of place to swim and play. Also, if there are varied breeds of fishes living in the same aquarium, they would need some extra space to coexist healthily. 3. While choosing your fish, you must be careful to keep only the compatible breeds together in one aquarium, else it would land up into a disaster. 4. To set up an ideal ecosystem in the fish tank with all natural resources intact, 175-gallon tank is the minimum you must consider. 5. While preparing a picture-perfect reef in your home aquarium, you are now lucky that you can find pre-drilled aquariums in the market. You just have to shell out some extra money that you pay as an advance for to the store form where you are purchasing the aquarium. This helps you get a very clean look rather than that traditional hang on the back overflowing tanks. 6. You have a bulk of choices to choose from when decorating your aquarium with a natural reef. The experts advise that as much as possible you should stick to organic decorations. This would ensure the health of your fishes, the plants, and a surely maintained ecological balance in the aquarium. 7. Live rock is a great decoration for your saltwater aquarium. This adds an aesthetic feel to the aquarium and helps you formulate the aquarium's ecosystem as it is a vital part of the aquatic life. A live rock is covered with several micro and macroorganisms. These organisms filter all the waste products from the water, thereby making that water safe for the aquatic inhabitants. 8. Live plants are another beautiful addition for the saltwater aquariums. These are functional as well as they provide for many facilities in the water. Live plants oxygenate the water in the tank. These provide a hideout for your fishes, making them more playful. They not only beautify the fish tank, but also purify the water in the tank by absorbing the chemicals and providing oxygen. The water plants break down water and ammonia. Then these plants filter the ammonia and the bad or contaminated part of the water, that is the portion that contains bacteria. Plants maintain the balance between all the chemicals in the fish tank as the fishes produce lot of ammonia. 9. Corals are also great beautifiers for your perfect reef aquarium. 10. The experts always advise that prior to making purchases and decisions regarding your fish tank, you must first choose and finalize the breed and type of fish that you would purchase. This would help you make rather appropriate and correct purchases for the aquarium. For instance, some fishes, like some particular plants, that you would be able to decide on the basis of the breed you have decided to buy. 11. The depth of the bottom layer of the aquarium that comprises of silt, sand, and slash or gravel must be of an adequate depth so as to allow the roots of the plants to seep in well. While this depth majorly depends on the type of plant you are placing in there, approximately 8 cm is the usual depth required for most of the plants. 12. Like all aquariums, and you must light your saltwater aquarium at least in the first half of the day, as your plants and fishes need a perfect cycle of oxygen and carbon dioxide. The plants need carbon dioxide to live that they can generate through photosynthesis, and this can happen only with the right lighting in the aquarium. You might also consider planting an artificial carbon dioxide producing gadget in the fish tank. Cleaning a freshwater aquarium. 6 easy steps. There are several hobbies one can have that turn into real passion someday. One among them is maintaining an aquarium. This hobby, though, is a serious one, as there is no room for mistakes, else you shall land up harming or killing a living creature. The first and foremost thing you must understand before deciding to take care of an aquarium and its fishes is to know the right technique to clean your freshwater aquarium. This process needs a lot of patience and knowledge, else you might land up killing those beautiful creatures. The beginners in this field would benefit a lot from these tips. When it comes to cleaning a freshwater aquarium, there are 2 main factors that you must consider. 1. When should you clean the tank? 2. Why should you clean your tank? Well, the answers to these questions are as follows. At regular time intervals, the bacteria and other harmful chemicals that generate in the water of the tank develop algae. That is very harmful for your fish. It might also make your fish ill or lead to their death. So you must clean the freshwater fish tank once in every 2 months to get rid of these harmful algae. Following some easy steps, you give a clean, safe, and healthy life to your fishes. These are as follows. Step 1. Preparation for cleaning the fish tank. The basic step before cleaning the aquarium, obviously, is to empty it first. But emptying the fish tank naturally means placing your fish out somewhere where they are safe. But it won't be good to leave your fishes in a new place for very long. So before emptying the fish tank, you must keep all the required material to clean the tank handy enough to do the job as quickly as possible. So the first thing you arrange for is the alternate tank to keep your fish that need not be very large, but it should be large enough to place all your fishes and allowing them enough space to swim. Not to mention, the size of this alternate tank purely depends on the number of fishes you have. Now here is a list of the things you require to clean the tank. 1. A fish net to take all your fish from the tank. 2. A towel and slash or paper towels in order to wipe away the spills. 3. A water pitcher and slash or a bucket to refill the tank. 4. A food drainer. 5. A clean sponge. 6. A clean rag. Step 2. Removing the fish from the tank. You must take care of the following things while removing the fishes from the fish tank. 1. Make sure that the alternate container is also set to place the fish in it. 2. The temperature of water in the alternate container must be almost similar to that in the fish tank, or the fishes would go into shock. 3. Place the fishes one by one in the new container. You can do this by catching each fish with a net. 4. The moment all the fishes are placed in the alternate container, place it in a clean and safe place where you are sure that the water won't spill. 5. Remember, when you place the fishes in a new place for the beginning, they make a lot of movement, which might lead to spilling of the water, so the container must be selected accordingly. These movements are also considerably reduced with the right temperature of water. Step 3. Removing old water from the fish tank. Once you have moved your fish out of the tank, now it's time to empty the water in the fish tank. This could be the messiest job out of all the process, so here are a few tips to make it easy. 1. Use a pitcher or small bucket to remove the water of the fish tank. 2. Dispose this water into the toilet or a sink. 3. Try not to remove the entire water from the fish tank. 4. Usually, in case of a freshwater aquarium, you should empty 3/4 part of the total water. 5. The rest 1/4 helps you in the acclimation of the new water that you would add later. Step 4. Removing and cleaning the gravel in the tank. Most of the dirt and waste of the fish tank gathers in the gravel placed at the bottom, so cleaning it well is indeed very important. Here are some simple tips to clean the gravel. 1. First, remove all the gravel from the tank. 2. For this, you can make use of the following equipments: a fish net, a dustpan, and a small scoop. 3. Now place the gravel in some type of strainer. 4. Place this strainer filled with gravel under hot water. 5. Keep mixing the gravel while rinsing it in order to get rid of all sediments and wastes that have settled down. 6. Now place it aside safely, as we shall add to the fish tank later. Step 5. Cleaning your tank. This step refers to cleaning the inside portion of the tank. Here are some tips on the same. 1. Here your main job is to clean up the algae built inside the tank. 2. Algae builds up when the temperature of the water in the tank is too warm or the fish tank is exposed to direct sunlight. 3. To clean the algae, you should use a scratch pad, but make sure to choose a scratch pad that is least abrasive, else you shall land making scratches on the glass of the fish tank. 4. Use hot water to clean the glass. This way you shall remove the algae more effectively. 5. Remember, you should never use any cleaners or detergents to clean the glass of the fish tank, as these are extremely harmful for the fishes. 6. Once the algae are removed, you must wipe the rest of your tank with the help of a towel or a soft rag. Remember, you might have to repeat this at least a few times. 7. Make sure that you rinse the rag and slash or towel frequently while cleaning so as to remove all the wastes. 8. In case you have placed some decorative pieces in your tank, wash and rinse them well with hot water. 9. Make a final check that the tank is absolutely free of all wastes and buildups. Step 6. Placing up the tank again. Now, when all the items of the inside of the tank are washed well and the container is all clean, it's time place everything back into position. Here are some steps of doing the same. 1. First of all, place the gravel from back to front. 2. Next, fill in the tank with water. 3. Check on the temperature of the water and make sure it is in tandem your usual one. 4. Try adding water with the similar temperature that you have to achieve at the end. 5. Now place all the decorative pieces back in to place in the fish tank. 6. Now it's time to place your fish back to their home. 7. Your fish might take some time to adapt to the new water, but after all these steps, you have ensured that the water is clean and healthy enough for your fishes. Some other tips you must keep in mind are as follows. 1. Cleaning of the fish tank must be done every 2 months. 2. Always keep the filters of the tank clean. Clean them or change them at regular basis, and never leave them dirty. 3. If you change around 20% of the water of the fish tank every month, the cleaning that is to be done every 2 months would get less tedious. 4. In order to have a healthy fish tank and happy fishes, it is a must to keep your aquarium clean and safe all the time. 5. This would not only add beauty and life to your pets, but also make your aquarium a lovable sight for one and all. Aquarium care for the freshwater guppy. 20 easy tips to care. When it comes to the freshwater aquariums, guppy is probably the most common fish that people love to maintain. Though they are not that tough to maintain, these have their own requisites to live healthy. Some tips that will help your guppies live longer, happier, and healthy are as follows. 1. These are hard water fishes that can well adapt to the minor fluctuations in the water quality. Still, you must minimize the fluctuations, as this causes stress to your fishes. 2. 72 to 82 degrees is the perfect temperature of water for an aquarium, providing home to the guppy fishes. 3. pH level that is apt for an aquarium homing guppies is 7, 0, and 8. 2. 4. The specifications that need to be maintained for guppies are quite easy as compared to the other tropical and marine fishes. 5. Guppies mature quite quickly. Their usual full-grown size is around 5 to 2 inches long. 6. These little fishes with their tails resembling the feathery fan make the aquarium pretty attractive and interesting. 7. Guppies are quite playful, thereby it's great fun to watch them swim across the aquarium. 8. For any living beings, food is a necessity. In case of guppies, you must understand that they can eat nearly everything, but their favorite food is frozen and the flake foods. 9. You should feed a guppy around 3 times a day. 10. Make sure that you feed it in very small quantities. 11. Supply it its favorite food, especially when the babies are in there. As in the absence or scarcity of food, the guppies tend to eat their young ones. 12. Like any other aquarium, the guppy fishes also need regular change of water. Though it must be done after every week or every fortnight, the sure indication to change water is when it starts smelling or gets cloudy. 13. At a time, change only 1/3 of the water. This would minimize the water fluctuations for the fishes, and that means less stress for the fishes. 14. Making your pet happy automatically makes it healthy. Creating a very home-like atmosphere for your guppies would make them very happy. Like add varied types of plants where they can hide. 15. Consider maintaining around 1 to 2 inches substrate at the bottom of your tank. 16. Guppies love the colored rocks and the dead crushed coral. Adding these two to the aquarium would make it visibly quite attractive and give pleasure to your guppies. 17. Some known guppies to choose from are flagtail, fantail, delta tail, spatty tail, round tail, etc. Guppies are known for their attractive, remarkable, and unique tails that form nearly 1/3 of its entire body. 18. While keeping guppies with any other breed in the aquarium, you must understand the guppies are the easiest prey owing to their delicate and long tail. So beware that with what breed you mix it with. 19. Guppies breed every 3 to 4 weeks, that is very frequently, and they can also breed with the other fishes. So, very soon you could find an overcrowded aquarium. 20. In case you do not want any cross-breeding, simply keep the fishes in different aquariums. How to care for aquarium fish. Over 20 easy tips for beginners. When you are sure to shop for a fish aquarium, you must know the right equipments and accessories that would enhance the longevity and health of your fishes and aquarium. These accessories include 1. Heaters, 2. Buffers, 3. Filters. 4. Gravel. 5. Floss. 6. Food, etc. In order to ensure the hygiene of your fishes, you must also know all the tips and techniques to keep the aquarium clean and the fish healthy. The experts always advise you to research well before purchasing the fish and the aquarium. Here are some useful tips that would help you take good care of your fishes and the aquarium. 1. Some essentials for the aquarium include the following. 1. Ornaments, decorations to add beauty and to give playful spots to your fishes. 2. Plants. You can choose from live and synthetic plants. Though live plants need a lot of care, they perform several functions for the benefit of your fishes. 3. Gravel. Gravel forms the base of the aquarium. The depth of this layer is defined by several factors like the plants you place in, the number of fishes you add to the aquarium, etc. 4. Test kits. This is helpful in testing the water of the aquarium at regular intervals. 5. Water treatment. These systems are available in various techniques and is quite essential to maintain the purity of the water. Else the ever-growing bacteria and ammonia in the water would kill your fish unexpectedly. 6. Food. Like all living beings, fishes need food, so you must have a good supply of food for your fishes. Make sure to read the contents of the food you purchase for the fishes and supply it to the fishes, as per the instructions mentioned of the details you receive with the fishes. 7. Heater accessories. In order to maintain the temperature of the water in the tank, you would need to plant a heater in the fish tank. This is a must-buy in case you are considering to keep some tropical fishes. While purchasing the heater, you must take care that the heater's size fits into the fish tank. It must not take a lot of space, else it would make your fish uneasy in the tank. Also check that there are various types of heaters in the market. You must know which one suits the best to your requisite. Some points to remember about maintaining the fishes and the aquarium are as follows. 1. Gravel maintains the natural resources in the aquarium. You can also consider adding some decorative ornaments in the aquarium. 2. Adding live plants to the aquarium makes your fish lively and more playful. 3. In case you are fortunate enough, the fish might lay eggs in real plants. They do not do so in the synthetic ones. 4. Make sure to offer the right amount of food to the fishes. The remaining food settles down in the gravel and generates harmful bacteria. 5. Most often you would use tap water to fill in the tank, and that contains a lot of bacteria and germs, so water treatment is very essential. 6. Choose your water test kit with a lot of care, as it must be very effective and should give most accurate results. Here follows the procedure of making the aquarium. 14. First of all, fill a bucket of water and rinse the gravel washing of the dirt, grime, and germs. 15. Then add water to your tank once the gravel is purified. 16. Further add half of the water actually required for the tank. 17. Next, add the ornaments and plants to your aquarium. 18. This makes the job of additives completed for the aquarium. 19. Now finally add the tank with the water in full quantity required. 20. Now use the manual that you have received with your tank. Follow the outlines mentioned in this manual to fill your tank properly. 21. Next, move to placing the heater and filtration systems in the tank. 22. In order to fit in the heater and filters safely and properly, follow the instructions mentioned in the manual you have received with these equipments. 23. Finally, you add the water treatment system to the tank. This purifies the harmful chemicals form the water like metal, copper, metal, and other related elements. 24. Now, before adding the fish to the tank, either make use of the specialized products that enable you doing that safely. else we recommended you to wait at least a few weeks prior to adding life to your tank. 25. A tank filled with water has some natural bacteria that produce naturally. These bacteria must be filtered out of the water so as to keep your fish healthy and safe. So once the water in aquarium is settled, use your test kit to check if the water is perfectly clean or not. It must also be checked that the water has the right temperature and all the chemicals in it are balanced. 26. Now, after the final verification of the water in the tank, add your fish in small quantities. 27. It is always advisable to keep passive fish in the aquarium rather than the aggressive ones. Some common passive fishes most advisable for the starters are goldfish, Aricinclus, Plecostomas, etc. These not only are easy to maintain, but also keep the aquarium clean. Saltwater aquarium. 11 tips to make it picture perfect. The sights of the aquatic world are indeed fascinating and thrilling. It is undoubtedly all new world for the observers. Many of the aquatic enthusiasts often wish to bring home this beauty. But to bring home this beauty, do you think that you have to build a 20-foot tropical aquarium at home or turn your living room into a room for a live shark? Well, you certainly do not need to do this. You can create impressions of the Baltimore National Aquarium's picturesque beauty at home itself. Some creative aquascaping in your home's saltwater aquarium can do the trick that the professionals do at Baltimore. The secret lies in selecting the right type of decorations and placing them well in your tank. Here are some easy tips on the same. 1. To decorate your aquarium, you can opt among the real and the plastic plants accoutrements. Anyhow, using the live plants and other organisms in the aquarium helps you bring home Mother Nature. 2. Also, you must understand that your fishes would make use of the decorations you place in the aquarium. They would find shelter and playfulness in them. Hence, for the best interest of your pets and to maintain the aesthetic feel of your aquarium, it is always advised to use the genuine aquatic plants. 3. A well-decorated saltwater aquarium is indeed an asset for years together. So, it is all the worth to spend considerable time and energy in searching for the right decor and ornaments of the aquarium. The local vendor dealing with tropical fish can have great help, as he could assist you with several varieties of decorations for your saltwater fish tank. 4. Live rock is a great decoration for your saltwater aquarium. This adds an aesthetic feel to the aquarium and helps you formulate the aquarium's ecosystem, as it is a vital part of the aquatic life. A live rock is covered with several micro and macroorganisms. These organisms filter all the waste products from the water, thereby making that water safe for the aquatic inhabitants. 5. Adding glory, beauty, and attraction to the saltwater aquarium are driftwood and sand. Besides, these are essential elements for the saltwater fish's natural habitat. 6. Live plants are another beautiful addition for the saltwater aquariums. These are functional as well as they provide for many facilities in the water. Live plants oxygenate the water in the tank. These provide a hideout for your fishes, making them more playful. 7. In case you are fortunate enough, your fishes might lay eggs in these plants. 8. The experts always advise that prior to making purchases and decisions regarding your fish tank, you must first choose and finalize the breed and type of fish that you would purchase. This would help you make rather appropriate and correct purchases for the aquarium. For instance, some fishes like some particular plants that you would be able to decide on the basis of the breed you have decided to buy. 9. Saltwater plants need special care and attention, and that can be done with prior and well-planned decisions. 10. Like all aquariums, And you must light your saltwater aquarium at least in the first half of the day, as your plants and fishes need a perfect cycle of oxygen and carbon dioxide. The plants need carbon dioxide to live that they can generate through photosynthesis, and this can happen only with the right lighting in the aquarium. You might also consider planting an artificial carbon dioxide producing gadget in the fish tank. 11. The depth of the bottom layer of the aquarium that comprises of silt, sand, and slash or gravel must be of an adequate depth so as to allow the roots of the plants to seep in well. While this depth majorly depends on the type of plant you are placing in there, approximately 8 cm is the usual depth required for most of the plants. Aquarium and fish care. 30 points to remember. There are several hobbies one can have that turn into real passion someday. One among them is maintaining an aquarium. This hobby, though, is a serious one, as there is no room for mistakes, else you shall land up harming or killing a living creature. The right place to gather ample knowledge about your fish and their house, that is the aquarium, is the library next door, or the global network, that is the World Wide Web, or the Internet. There are several starter kits available online. You shall also come across loads of information on some beginner fishes to start with this interesting hobby. But before diving into this interesting field, here are some essential tips to remember. 1. In order to maintain your fish tank well enough, you must understand the nitrogen cycle. This cycle involves nitrates, ammonia, and nitrites. The fishes naturally produce these chemicals in the water they live in. It's your job to balance these chemicals so that the water remains healthy for your fishes to survive. 2. The beginners in this hobby find it difficult to balance the ammonia in the water. In that case, you could consider banking on the starter kits available online. These kits contain additives like ammonia. Basically, these kits supply you with a mechanism to artificially control the degree of ammonia in the fish tank. 3. These kits also guide you through, or at times make available, the apt beginner fishes. These types of fishes naturally produce ammonia in an adequate amount. 4. In case you are beginning with a cold water tank, the best option would be to have a goldfish. 5. Make sure that your fish tank contains ample amount of plants. They not only beautify the fish tank, but also purify the water in the tank by absorbing the chemicals and providing oxygen. 6. The water plants break down water and ammonia. Then these plants filter the ammonia and the bad or contaminated part of the water, that is the portion that contains bacteria. 7. Plants maintain the balance between all the chemicals in the fish tank as the fishes produce lot of ammonia. 8. When you are ammonizing your fish tank with the starter fish, be very sure of the quantity of food you are feeding to the fish. Remember that you should feed only small amounts of the food initially. 9. The food that remains settles down at the bottom and rots down finally. This rotten food develops severely toxic chemicals that can kill your fish, so try to maintain the least amount of remaining food. The trick to do it simply is to watch your fish while feeding them. Only put in the amount of food it consumes in the first 2-3 minutes, that to only twice a day. In case of food, also make sure to read through the label of the fish that you always get on the purchase of the fish. 10. Make proper use of the test kits, and make sure that you check the ammonia level in the water at regular intervals, that is every week. 11. Usually, a proper ammonization process takes about 5 weeks or longer. 12. Before purchasing the fish tank, make sure that you purchase the right stand to place this tank well. 13. Remember, the fish tank must not be exposed to direct sunlight and heaters, else more and more algae would develop in the tank, thereby killing your fish. 14. Make sure that the gravel you add to the fish tank is absolutely clean. In case you have purchased boiled gravel, rinse it well before adding it to the tank. Else, you must boil it first and then rinse it, and then add it to the tank. 15. The right way of adding gravel to the fish tank is to initiate from the back of the tank and then coming to the front. 16. The height of the gravel you add depends on the type of fish and the type of filter you would use. This is more particular for the front of the tank. The gravel layer in the front of the tank must be very light. 17. In case you are using under gravel filters, the front layer of gravel would be very low. 18. Ideally, installing the filters and heaters is the last step in preparing the fish tank. But in case you are considering using a powered filter, you must install the filter before adding the gravel. 19. After adding the gravel, the next step is to add plants and other ornaments. Make sure that you rinse these additives well enough in order to maintain the purity of the water in the tank. 20. Be sure to select only marine-based plants. 21. Initially fill the tank with only half of the total required quantity. Make use of pre-treated water while filling the tank halfway. 22. Once you are done with all the additives, you can fill it up with water fully. 23. After filling in the tank with all the water required, keep a regular check on temperature of the water with a thermometer. 24. Now finally, place the filters in the fish tank. 25. Goldfish can be added to your fish tank at the beginning of the ammonization process. In case you are planning to purchase any other fish, you must wait for a few weeks so that the ammonization process gets completed in the fish tank. 26. Also, be sure that you do not add any new fish to the tank until and unless the water in there is crystal clear. 27. Check that the ideal way is to introduce only one fish at a time and gradually increase the number of fishes in the tank. You could also consider starting with 4 different types of hardy fishes, one of each type. 28. The right way to add a fish in the tank is that you must afloat the fish in a bag into the aquarium for around 15 minutes prior to leaving them in the tank. This would help your fish get acclimated to the temperature of the water in its new home. 29. Make sure that you do not add the water of the fish bag into the aquarium, as this water might be contaminated, or would at times affect the temperature of the aquarium and the pH level of the water in there. 30. You must check that the aquarium has the right amount of lighting. These lights are teamed with a hood that can be fit over the top of the aquarium. The fact is that most of the aquariums these days come along with a hood. Actually, the hood keeps away the critters and maintains the fish inside the tank. The hood ID also used to regulate the lights in the tank. Carp aquarium and fish care. Carp have been the favored pets of people for centuries. There are several factors which help to create a good living environment for carp, including water pH, water temperature, and diet. Asia has been famous for a long time for its interest in carp as a sign of strength, beauty, and virility. Today, we will examine several species from the region and provide tips on proper care of carp. In environments as varied as streams, ponds, and drainage areas dwells a most incredible fish, the Asiatic tooth carp, known by their scientific name genera Aplotulillus and Oryzias. Asiatic tooth carp enjoy water temperatures that are generally between 70 degrees and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. The carp reside near the surface of the water and do not like water that is very hard or high in alkaline. Because they live near the surface, Asiatic tooth carp have easy access to mosquito larvae and other relates food sources. While they do eat and enjoy dry fish foods from time to time, it is important to continue feeding carp some of their natural fare while they are in captivity. These carp enjoy living in small and medium-sized tanks that contain about 10 gallons of water at the most. They really love moderately hard and fairly acidic water, where organic deposits grow freely. Waters that have high peat contents ought to have floating plants, lime-free fine gravel, and plants with fine leaves. The spawning process. The tooth carp produces spawn that grow very quickly. Over a period of 3 weeks, the tooth carp will mate daily and lay a small number of eggs. While still in the spawn stage, the adults will not hurt the young, however. Once the larvae have hatched and become fry, the adults will eat their own young. If you wish to save some of the fry, remove the parents from the tank prior to the larvae hatching. A second option is to remove the larvae and place them in a separate tank with lots of plants. The first option is usually chosen simply because it is easier. Once they have hatched, you will want to sort through the fry by size and remove a few in order to prevent cannibalism. The dwarf of green panchax. Dwarf of green panchax, a close relative of the tooth carp, is also referred to by some as Panchax parvis. Normally, the fish is found in the seas surrounding Ceylon and India, and is part of the Aplotchalis blocki group. The mature green dwarf is 1.3/4 in length, which makes it a perfect aquarium fish. The fish is green-yellow in color and has rows of yellow and red markings. Tank water is great for this fish, as its native home waters are warm. They will usually eat both live and dried foods. When you want to breed the dwarf, make sure the water is 78 degrees. The best way to successfully breed dwarfs is to use 2 males and a small harem of females in the process. Geisha girl medaka. From further to the east, in Japan, comes the cousin of the dwarf of green panchax, the Geisha girl medaka, whose scientific name is Oryzias latipes. It is also nicknamed the rice fish or Japanese medaka due to its country of origin. It is a fish that is almost colorless, like the rice that is the main staple of Japan, which may also help explain the nickname rice fish. The fish is about 1/2 inch long. The females are smaller and rounder than their male counterparts, with rounded fins which make them easy to spot. Slightly acidic waters are the best for the medaka. If you have acidic water, it is suggested that you mix about 1 teaspoon of salt in 3 gallons of water to improve the pH balance. The Geisha girl medaka can live in waters that are as cool as 75 degrees or as warm as 80 degrees. However, the optimal temperature is 78 degrees. As for their diet, the Geisha girl medaka is not a picket eater. She will eat just about anything. Catfish aquarium and fish care. Catfish come in many different species and from many different places around the world. Here are some basic facts about the catfish and how to care for the fish in captivity. The catfish, known to scientists as the Siluridae, has several different types. The glass catfish from Asia, and India in particular, received its name from the clear coating that covers its body and its virtually clear body. While there are other varieties of catfish, they are not as desirable as the glass catfish for the purpose of being in an aquarium. The fish is about 3.1/2 inches long and has the obvious whiskers on its upper lip, which lend it the name catfish. These whiskers are also called barbels. The glass catfish is not a terribly social animal, choosing to bend into the background and not move around a whole lot. Catfish normally feed at the surface of the water and tend to prefer living organisms. They are not typically very picky eaters and have a reputation for being scavengers, making them a very helpful fish. They are a hardy fish and are not affected very much by water temperature or alkalinity or acidity. Catfish not only eat other decomposing fish, they also feed on many other decomposing materials. Their diet also includes many photosynthetic organisms like algae. Having a fish like this around will help prevent the buildup of algae in your tank. A unique feature of catfish is that their skeletal system is made of bone, instead of cartilage like many other fish. Instead of the fleshy fins many other fish possess, the catfish has bones. Again, unlike many of its aquatic neighbors, the catfish does not have scales. The whiskers that it has not only respond to touch, but also help it smell and taste. The upside-down catfish comes from the Fijian Congo. The fish can become 2 inches long as an adult. What makes this fish unique? That it looks like it swims upside down. This is because the eye is actually below the mouth, while the whiskers are attached to the chin and point upward. Though it looks like it swims upside down, it actually swims right side up. This catfish is great for cohabitation with other fish in a tank because of it is a scavenger and will help keep the amount of algae in your tank to a minimum. Another very interesting species is the electric catfish. While it can become 10 feet long in open waters, it will only grow to 2 feet in length in an aquarium. This fish is found around lakes, rivers, and streams in the west and central parts of Africa. The body of this fish is cylindrical, and though it possesses no dorsal fin, it compensates for that with a sizable and strong adipose fin. It will give off an electrical shock to anyone who would come near and therefore is not good for including with other fish in your aquarium. The shock is similar to that of an electric eel, but is not nearly as strong or severe. The shock is stronger than that of the mormyridae, however. The diet of the electric catfish consists mostly of meat, worms, and fish smaller than itself. It is famous for being a nocturnal animal, will eat a whole lot. As with many other species of catfish, water temperature and pH are not a big issue. As long as this guy has lots of food and water, he is happy. Coral Reef Care Tanks Aquarium. When you want to create that aquarium for your dreams, you might be tempted to buy the most beautiful, rare species of fish and the more expensive crustaceans or shrimp. Creating a whole underwater world, alive with incredible color and brilliance, seems appealing. However, this probably is not the best place to start for beginning your aquarium hobby. Aquariums that contain coral reefs require far more care and attention than just the freshwater or saltwater tanks do. Usually, freshwater fish can handle variation in water temperature and pH better than other marine species, and are therefore a better place to begin. Unless you are really interested in the hobby and have a lot of experience, you probably should not try to start a coral reef aquarium. It may take several months before the right water pH is reached and the correct lighting and water temperature is set. Begin the process by adding sea salt available at many pet stores to regular tap water. You will want to have the salinity of the tank at a point between 1,023 and 1,004. For optimum temperature for a coral reef aquarium, keep it between 75 degrees and 79. The pH is the most important part of the whole process. The ideal pH level for a tank like this is between 8.3 and 8.4. Testing kits for pH can be bought online or from your local pet store. The pet store will also have chemicals that can be used to adjust the pH levels in the tank. Because there is not a lot of room for error in the pH level, it is very important that you be patient and get the parts correct. Otherwise, a mistake will be quite costly. Do not under any circumstances add marine life to the tank until everything is perfectly in order. After everything is perfectly ready, introduce the anemones and clownfish. That's right, start out with Nemo. He and the anemones are the toughest of the reef-dwelling species. Keep a very close eye on the wildlife and look for signs of stress of any kind. Stress manifests itself mostly in the sickness of the fish. These creatures have been taken directly from their native habitat and placed in your tank so it may be a while before they are totally acclimated to the new environment. Another major cause of stress is overcrowding. Permit about 10 gallons of water for every inch of fish, being careful to take into account the final size of the fish rather than its size when purchased. The time it takes for the fish to show signs of sickness is about 30 days. After a month or so, if everything is okay and the fish seem well adjusted, then you may begin to add new forms of marine life. When adding new species to the tank, be careful to choose them based on how compatible they will be with other creatures in the tank. For example, a mandarin fish or dwarf angel fish may be a good fish to add in with the clownfish because they get along pretty well. The fish must also be compatible with the water temperature and pH, but even more importantly, their food source must be compatible. Ensure that current tank members have plenty of time to acclimate to their new home and their new tank mates. The best way to build a great marine life aquarium is to do a lot of research into what creatures are compatible with your existing collection. With time and effort, you will have a great aquarium that you can be proud of. Establishing live rocks in an aquarium. Aquariums have the power to transport those who may never have the opportunity to see the incredible beauty of life under the sea to a place of wonder and beauty. Therefore, a well-kept tank which is filled with as much of the nature surroundings and species of a reef as possible can permit a stunning trip into a world of incredible diversity, color, shape, and variety. A good reef aquarium is indeed something to be valued and sought after. Live rocks can be a wonderful addition to the underwater ecosystem which you create. A live rock is simply a rock. However, it is what lives on the rock that makes it a living rock. There are both macroorganisms and microorganisms that digest the waste of fish and other animals which vital to the ecosystem and therefore can be a great addition to the aquarium. However, it is not just about taking a rock and putting in the aquarium and hoping it works. There is a process that needs to be understood and followed to make sure that the benefits for the aquarium and the live rock are the best they can be. The process for curing a live rock is very simple, but this important step must be done carefully. Otherwise, there could be a rise in the level of ammonia in the tank that would hurt the fish or possibly kill them. The first step in curing the rock is to choose a container which will be large enough to hold the rock you wish to cure. Then, fill the container with salt water. Next, place a heater and water pump in the tank to provide good temperature and circulation control. As the water reaches the proper temperature, take the heater out and as well as half of the water. Then take the rock and clean it thoroughly, being careful to remove as much of the loose organisms and debris as possible by stirring the rock in salt water in a separate bucket. Take the now clean rock and put it in the water already prepared. Install the heater and pump once more and let nature take its course. The whole process is finished when the ammonia scent is no longer present and the ammonia level in the water is absolutely zero. At this juncture, it is now safe to put the rock into the aquarium and let nature do her work with a perfectly natural filtering system, thanks to a living rock. Freshwater fish care and cold water aquarium. Freshwater first are the best in terms of fish with which to start a collection, as they are a hardier and more resistant to water temperature and pH variations. However, it is still a fish, and therefore requires fresh water that is full of oxygen. And as any other living thing, a fish creates natural wastes. If the wastes are dealt with effectively, they can wind up hurting the fish in the long term. When ammonia is present, oxygen begins to decrease, which is why you add not just a filter to your aquarium, you also add other living things which can absorb these wastes. Underwater plants, like many others above the surface, produce oxygen as they grow, making them an excellent addition to any freshwater aquarium. Things to consider as you are buying your tank is the type of light, hood, stand, and thermometer you wish to use. These can have an impact on the growth of the plants and water temperature. How to choose the proper aquarium. Aquarium volumes are measured in terms of cubic decimeters, or quarts. The good tanks range in size from about 45-liter all the way up to 130 liters at a maximum. These tanks tend to be marked by their length and depth, as well as the fact that they are easy to clean. Additionally, you can have many different types of freshwater fish dwelling in the same tank simultaneously without incident. They also have plenty of room to grow. Choosing a good stand. In order to make an educated decision about which stand you need to buy for your aquarium, you must consider many factors. These factors include, will it be able to support the weight of not just the tank, but the water that fills it? Will the tank be in a level area, or does it need to be leveled in some way? Also, should the stand be connected to other forms of support to strengthen it? Choosing the right type of light. Lights are critical to the health of the plants in your tank. The one real problem that they cause is the buildup of algae, which you will be required to clean on a regular basis, or else the water purity may begin to be reduced. The lights also give off significant amounts of heat, which may affect the water temperature. When thinking about lights, it is important to find a balance between a light strong enough for plants to grow without causing the fish in the tank undue stress, both in terms of the brilliance of the light and the heat which they give off. The importance of choosing a good hood. The hood is the apparatus that acts as a lid for your tank and keeps the fish from making a jump for it and dying on your floor. Additionally, it keeps dirt particles, garbage, unwanted animals, and other such things from getting into the tank. It also shields your light. Make sure that you get a hood that matches the size of your tank for the best results in protecting your aquarium. Picking the right type of thermometer. The thermometer is an indicator of the temperature either in the environment, whether the air or water. Usually they are created from glass tubes and have mercury or alcohol in them. As the temperature rises or falls, so too does the level within the thermometer. Your local pet shop will have these types of thermometers in stock. You can probably just buy a very basic one, and is all that you will really need. Besides all the things that have been discussed until this point, you should also have gravel, heaters, filters, and the like for your tank. The proper type of food can also be purchased at your local pet store. Filters and their use in aquariums. Because of the waste product emitted by fish and the from other not-so-nature sources, the filtration system in your aquarium is of the utmost importance. It will not only keep your fish healthy, but it will make your aquarium more beautiful as a result. There are several types ranging from nature filters to more chemical or mechanical processes. Biological filters. These filters work by remove nitrogen from the water and turn it into ammonia, nitrites, and nitrogen, which is known as the process of denitrification. Although ammonia and nitrites can be toxic to fish, they manage to adapt to nitrites because something toxic has been translated into something not so toxic. Bacterium enriched from the soil is added to the tank and begins converting ammonia into nitrates. The nitrogen that results from the reaction goes into elements that create natural resources. There are also mechanical filters, which use different methods to remove solid waste and particles from the water. Some examples include filtration cartridges of foam, floss, and/or gravel. In some filters, you need both of those for it to work properly. Carbon activation is used in the chemical filtration systems. The system aims to clear ammonia and water softeners from the water. Purifying your tank water is very important, especially since the water comes from the tap or groundwater, and the purity of the water will determine the overall health of your fish. Water purification systems are also an option and can reduce chemicals in your water. Aquarium filters include corner filtration, outside powered filters, under gravel filtration, and foam canisters flow-through filtration. The way the filter work. Corner filtration is one of the more common forms of filtration and is done by supplying forced air. The air is removed by the force of a weak vacuum. This pulls the water through the filter and the floss within the filter. The floss not only catches large pierces of pollutants, but because of its fibrous nature, removes a good deal of very small algae and effectively cleans the tank better by slowing bacterial growth. It basically ventilates the water, but because wet floss is very thick charcoal gravel, is also used in the filter to increase flow, as well as the charcoal too acts as a filtering agent. And the result is actually better all around. Pumps of an electrical nature, also known as outside-powered filters, extract large volumes of water through the filter and pull is through the floss and charcoal. The pump does provide for ventilation in the tank and can support a larger amount or variety of fish than many other filters can. In order to maintain the effectiveness of any filter, it is important to change it and clean it on a regular basis. Otherwise, the performance will suffer. One way to improve the filtration in your tank is to place gravel in the bottom of the tank. The filtration systems that can be installed under the gravel actually uses it to strain out some of the particles that are not wanted in the water. It is a non-chemical filter, which is great. However, there are some downsides. Pumps are able to take care of all the fish in a tank. This filtration system cannot do that. Additionally, the foam filtration parts for the air supply and the canisters used to trap particles must be cared for on a very consistent basis. These canisters combine the biological, mechanical, and chemical types, but are unfortunately not very effective and in the long run are usually not recommended, because in addition to all the attention paid to the filter, the water still must be conditioned properly. Caring for bubble coral in an aquarium. More and more people today are setting up saltwater aquariums, and they are choosing to use coral as part of the decor of their environment on an increasingly regular basis. Before purchasing coral and introducing it into your ecosystem, it is important to note that coral is a living thing just like any other fish or creature you might add. Therefore, it is of importance to understand how to properly care for and acclimate this interesting organism into your tank. Bubble coral is one of the more popular and common types of coral that people purchase to add to their tanks. Because it is so popular, it will be used as the example and guide for coral care here. There are 3 major subspecies, including bubble coral, pearl bubbler coral, and grapen bubble coral. These can all be taken care of in very similar ways, so bubble coral will simply be the focus going forward. Like any other fish or creature that you place in your tank, the key is understanding that the coral will need to grow and expand. Bubble coral has these tentacle-type arms that only come out to at night in order to help the coral feed. If these coral are placed in too close a proximity to each other, they could potentially sting other coral. Make sure that, as you think about where to place the coral, you leave at least 6 inches in between the coral that you place in your tank. Make sure that you pay attention to the light that the coral is exposed to. If you introduce other lights besides the light inside of hood of the tank, just about any bubble coral will do just fine anywhere within the tank. It might be a good idea to place the coral closer to the top of the tank if you are thinking about fluorescent lights. Additionally, bubble coral does not like a lot of movement in the water. In fact, if the coral is placed in a current of some kind, the vesicles won't open, and this could bring about the death of the coral. Because the coral is a living thing like your fish or other creatures in your tank, they need to be fed and cared for in much the same way. The bubble coral likes shrimp and clams bits once or twice every week. Take the food and place it in a place where the coral can reach it with its tentacles. Any food that the tentacles grab, the coral will eat instantly. Be careful about overfeeding a coral, because algae can begin to collect of the coral. That can lead to harm and possibly death of coral, so be especially care to clean the algae on a regular basis. Flatworms are also another enemy of coral. They're easy to identify and see. They show up in round spots on the coral, although they are not a great concern and don't do a lot of damage. If you see a very large amount of them, however, you must take action. Otherwise, death could be a result. Coral, an amazing organism that can increase the beauty of your underwater habitat, but many people don't know how to care for it. Learn as much as possible about this interesting animal, and the rewards will far exceed the time spent. Your aquarium will be full of marine life, not just fish and so forth, but other types too. The bubble coral can provide the basis for a very beautiful underwater tableau.